How many of you played Stanley Parable or The Beginner's Guide? Amazing games, right? Did you know that the creator of those games is Doug's brother? Did you know that the creator of those games has made a third game now called Wanderstop? And that's what we're playing today? Oh. Yep. Developer Ivy Road. And it is being published by Annapurna Interactive, which is very, very cool. Beginner's Guide actually helped me through writer's block when I was working on Heartbound stuff and I got stuck. I hated working on it. Hated it. And Beginner's Guide fixed that for me. It's wonderful. Is this Wanderstop? Yes, it is.
My name is Alta, and I am a fighter. When
Love
you're in a fight with
animatics.
someone, only one thing matters. Control. Are you in control or not? Because if you're not, here's what happens. You get hit. Hard. You feel scared. You submit. But if you do the work, if you put in the hours, if you give yourself no excuses, then you take back control.
Jesus.
That feeling right there. The moment when you realize that your pain does not have to be an impediment, that it can be what drives you. That's the reason why I became a fighter.
Driven by a
It's why I
spike.
pushed myself harder than anybody I have ever known. I trained like my life depended on it. I did the time. I put in the work. And so, to this day, I have not lost a fight in 3.5 years. Undefeated for that long. God, it took everything, but I earned it. This is what I devoted my entire life to. Finally, I'm here. I made it. I can... I lost? How? No. I must have gotten sloppy. Complacent. I must have slacked on my training. I'm so stupid! But I can use this failure to push myself even harder. Train myself back up better than ever. Right. Maybe the loss was actually a lesson I needed. Once I've made it back to the top, I'll never allow... Again. I'm a failure. I'm weak. I'm a failure. A failure.
God damn.
I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. I don't want to be this person. No. Snap out of it, Alta. Do not go to that place again. Take responsibility. This can be fixed. Only one person in the world is good enough to train me back up. Master Winters. She was an unrivaled fighter in her time. A god. She'll know what to do. Her home lies deep within a forest, at the edge of the world. I'll find her no matter what it takes. I'll do whatever she demands of me. And when I leave this place, it will be on nobody's terms, but mine.
I can already tell you this game is going to mess me up bad. Yeah. Oh, classic. Oh, god damn it. It's refreshing to have something to chase again. What kind of training will Master Winters put me through? I'm sure it'll be brutal. Good. I hope it's brutal. Just have to... I'm tired? Oh, that's interesting. Do we push ourselves? Or do we give ourselves a chance to break? The reason that she's gotten... Honestly, I think the reason that she's gotten sloppy is because she's pushed herself. The check engine light has been on the whole time and she hasn't paid attention. I think that's what it is. Think about it. 3.5 years. No breaks. No stops. She's burned, dude. I'm gonna rest. I'll just rest for a moment. No, I can't stop now. What are you doing, Alta? Okay. Not paying attention to the check engine light, dude. That's why you lost those fights. You keep hesitating. I was lazy. I let myself get complacent. She won't do it. Yeah, put black electrical tape over the check engine light. I don't think so. I think it's a good idea. I have to ensure it never happens again. That's all that matters. I have to... Wait, what's going on? Why does my sword suddenly feel so heavy? What happened? I can't carry it. Stop this, Alta. Pick up your sword. Pick it up. What are you doing? This is impossible. I've carried this sword with me every single day for more than 7 years. It's part of my own body at this point. What's going on? What's wrong with me? Do I leave the sword here? Can I do that? Is that okay? I don't know if I have any other choice. I'll never find Master Winters at the pace I'm going. I'll just leave it here for now. Then as soon as I find her, we'll come get the sword and resume the training. I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. It feels good to move quickly. You know, if I keep up this pace, I could... Oh, dude. She's burning herself out. Like 100%. I'm gonna say rest again. Just for a second. Just a moment. Then back to it. I'm gathering my energy. I'll summon everything I have and push until I find Master Winters. You're running in a forest. You have no weapon. Wanderstop, yeah. Wander or stop. Just gathering my energy, then right back to it. Oh. Oh shit. And we're dead. Wait, where am I? What? Hi. He has a spoon. A very good morning, miss. Good to see you're awake. I have to go. Oh. My goodness, you're not feeling well. I can't stay here. I need to leave. Oh, I see. How delightful. Say, Boro would very much like a cup of tea. Which is to say, this one's name is Boro. A pleasure to be making your acquaintance. And are you having a name as well? Interesting that you can choose no. I'm going to say Alta. There's no reason not to. Wonderful. Welcome to Wanderstop, Miss Alta. Wanderstop is the name of my tea shop, you see. Right there in front of us. As long as I am making tea, would Miss Alta like some tea as well? No. No, take the tea! What's the matter with you? An acceptable answer. Tea only for Boro, then. Wait. Did you carry me here from the forest? Indeed. It seems I am still having the upper body strength of my youth. Boro was once fastidious about developing his triceps, if you can imagine. What is this game is giving me Palia vibes? It's probably the art style. Yeah, that makes sense. My sword. We have to go back and get my sword. Oh, not to worry. Boro already retrieved the sword. It was lying not far from where I found you. So you could pick the sword up? Did it feel really heavy? No, I don't believe so. Just the normal sword weight. Is the sword supposed to be heavy? It was heavy just before I passed out. How interesting. No, it was simply the weight a sword should be. Maybe asking what brought you here, to this forest? I'm looking for someone. I see. For fun? Master Winters is a legendary warrior. She lives somewhere out here. I need her to train me. So, for fun. Wonderful. Yeah, the normal sword weight. Now then, it is time for the tea Boro promised to himself. Very exciting. Something has occurred to me. You said you're not wanting to drink tea, but perhaps you'd wish to help me make tea? The making of tea, it is good for the soul and body. Perhaps help you recover. I'm gonna say nothing. You see, she's got the options to say things, but all the things she would say are kind of rude. So let's say nothing. Ah, was I off? Is Miss Alta not interested even in making tea? Well, please know that I only thought you would enjoy something fun to do while resting. After all, you've had a turbulent day today. Why not enjoy yourself a moment? You can run back into the woods. Yes, it's true. Or you can briefly relax here while keeping your hands occupied. What is there to lose by spending just a few easy minutes making tea? And then, of course, straight back to your exciting journeys in the forest. Throwing a tea bag into the pot doesn't take two people? No, but it can. You can spend that time together. Nothing but a momentary diversion. What do you say? Do not feel like you have to answer right away. I will be over there inside the shop. If you wish to help me make tea, come speak with me, and I would be glad to show you how. I have to go in there anyway. He's got my sword. It is entirely up to you. Please, take your time and be well. It's very nice, Faye. Oh, I guess that's true. He didn't give me his name. He gave me a name that he is called. That is very different. Burrow might not actually be his name. It may be what people call him, but is not his name. I really like the art style. You know what the art style of this reminds me of? Like the colors? What was that movie? What Dreams May Come. Do you remember that movie? Robin Williams one? When he's like in the painting world? Yeah. It's just the way that the colors are used in this. Just the environments. What are these little cats? I've stolen him, he's mine now. He's a pluffin. You can pet him. Oh my god. Can I put him in the water? Actually ridiculous. What is that? Huh. I guarantee this game is going to mess me up bad, dude. It's going to be just like the beginner's guide. Yoink. Oh. Okay, so that's where the cups go out. Where do I put it for it to go? Oh, there we go. What? It's a washing machine. It's a washing machine. It's got the cup. Random horse noises? What is this environment, dude? That's wild. Where's my cup? Oh, did it disappear in there? I think it might have. Oh! So it goes through the washing machine and then comes out here because it cools it off, or it heats it up. And now we get our cup back. Alright. We can stash items. Interesting. What is that? Shears. I have a feeling we're going to spend a long time here. Alright, we have our cup. Boop. What is that? Blue seeds. Hello. Hello, miss. You've decided to join me. I'll do this with you only until I'm well enough to travel. Yeah, we're gonna do that first one. Very good. I am understanding completely. Now then, we must be showing you the steps to making tea. If we're going to do this properly, we must harvest our own ingredients. No cutting corners at Wanderstop. Please, won't you come with me? I'll show you to the maintenance room to gather our tools. Alright. Okay. So we can highlight interactives this way. Welcome to the maintenance room. Here you'll find all sorts of useful tools for running a tea shop. For instance, the tools that we must use to dry the tea leaves. You see the basket right there? Go ahead and pick it up. The basket in hand, go gather up tea leaves that have grown outside. Just scoop them right into the basket, no trimming is required. Remember, you'll need an entirely full basket before the tea drying process can begin. Once your basket is full, return here and place the leaves into one of these bowls. Leaves will begin naturally drying themselves, just like that. If you've used up all of your tea bushes that are in front of our shop, you can always go find more out in the clearing. They regrow in plentiful numbers along the outer edge of the clearing, no need to worry about running out. All sounds good? Why don't you get some tea leaves drying, then please come speak with me. Alright. Boop. Hell yeah. I have this wish listed? Good. Whoop. Oh. Excellent job. Please come see me to discuss next steps. No, I need more. He said there were more out along the edge. Can we grab these? No. What is that? Interesting. Ah, there we go. There's some out there. The one thing that I will always say about, like, Beginner's Guide and Stanley Parable is that they hit a very specific emotional state that the player may not realize is meaningful to them at the beginning of the game. And I'm interested to see what this story is all about. Is that a mushroom? Mushrooms! It's a weird one. So far it seems like it's kind of cozy, but it's also like this character definitely is not checking for their check engine light. Like they don't seem to care about that. They just gotta go, 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 go. You know? Off we go. Alright, cool. So they're automatically doing it? I love the little timers on that. That's nice. You set the leaves out to dry, and it will be several minutes before the process is complete. Once they've fully dried, they will clump together into a tea ball, easy for storage and transportation. Yes, the tea ball really is the most convenient of nature's miracles. But miss, we can put the tea ball out of our minds for now. The next step is to do a bit of gardening. Perhaps you already saw the wall of tools behind you. Each of them can help us in a different way. For right now, though, all we're needing is the watering can. It looks like a frog. Please, won't you take the watering can with you? Perhaps stash it in your pocket for easy use. Then with your watering can stashed, come and meet me outside by the garden. Alright. Okay. So that stashed it. And if we want to do that, we can put it out to the left. Okay. So we can press up. Neat. Friend-shaped watering can, indeed. Before we begin, Burrows suggests that you please stash your watering can. We'll come back to the watering can in just a moment. Oh, okay. Welcome to the garden. Here's where Burrow likes to do the planting of plants. As you can see, we're already having a blue fern here in the garden. But miss, we can grow this simple plant into a larger one, almost like magic. Please imagine a grid surrounding our blue fern. If you plant 2 additional simple plants on either side of it, forming a line, then the fern in the middle becomes a plant egg. It is the miracle of life. A plant egg? Here, I'll give you a seed for more blue ferns, so you can try it for yourself. What is a plant egg? This world is strange, Chet. Of course, you can be making these plants anywhere in the clearing that you'd like, not just the garden. Burrow simply enjoys the feeling of making plants in the garden. So why don't you go ahead and make a blue line of blue seeds, and let me know when it's done. All right. Boop. Okay, that is really satisfying feeling. Look at this. Blur. What is that? What is that? It's so horrifying. I finished making the plant egg. Fantastic. The next step is to be watering it. Remember the watering can you stashed earlier? Now's the time to be retrieving it. Please take the watering can to any of the spigots connected to the water. We have several around. Fill the watering can with water and then pour it onto your new egg. Once you've done this, please do come speak with me again. I'll be honest. A little freaked out by the plant egg. Okay. The hell was that noise? What do I do? Push the... Oh, we have to stash it like that. There we go. Aha! You've successfully watered the plant egg. Once you water the egg, it will grow into a hybrid plant. The plant you have made is what I call a small hybrid. There was another one of those out in the field. Try using watering can on it again, it will grow even more seeds. In this way, you can be using small hybrids to make as many new plants as you like. Oh god, it's a match game. We get a weird plant. Once you've picked a fresh new seed from the small hybrid, please let me know. Okay. I've done it. Okay, I got more seeds. Excellent. Let us move on to the next step. Oh my god, how many steps are there? Ah, do not be alarmed, miss. We're down to the last several dozen steps in the process. Wonderful. You serious? No, this was a joke. Boro was joking. We really aren't too terribly far off. Please, I would beg your patience. I know this is being a lot, but I am certain you will handle it admirably. Can you suggest what we'll be making after small hybrids? Yes, big hybrids. I'm going to say large hybrids. That is correct. Just as small hybrids produce seeds, large hybrids will give us fruits. Remember how you use a line pattern to make a small hybrid? Make a large hybrid, we instead use this triangular pattern. Okay. You don't have to reuse any of the plants we planted to make the small hybrid. It's an entirely new shape. Simply use some of the blue seeds you produced to make this new triangular pattern. Once you made the large hybrid, water it to receive the fruit just like you did the seeds. Okay. So make a line... But we can make a triangle. And there's the egg there. Stash this. Jesus. Now we can go water this thing again. And it's making the seeds. We water that one again? No. Stash it. More seeds. Stash them all. Fruits. Weird fruits. It's a chip. Mmm, delicious chips. I don't know what that is. I did it. I made a fruit. Wonderful, miss. You've excelled at gardening. Truly you have. The fruit you've made is called the chip, and we'll be using it in our tea momentarily. I'll tell you, though, if you wish, there are many more hybrids to discover. We have a large variety of hybrids, large hybrids and small hybrids that can be made using these patterns. Here I'll be giving you a field guide that shows you more. Oh, man. Within the pages of the field guide, you'll see prompts for how to make other hybrids. You can also learn more about the fruits of each hybrid produces. Understanding the attributes of these fruits will be quite useful when making tea. Oh, dear God. Yeah, in order to make tea, first you must create the universe. Exactly. That's all for gardening. Do you feel accomplished? I do. It is a begrudging sense of accomplishment, but I will accept it. However, we're now done with gardening, and it is time to make the tea. Come, let's just go inside, and I will explain the tea machine to you. Tea machine. Let's see this field guide, actually. Small hybrids is... Large hybrids is that. And that's it. That's all we have right now. Oh, wait, there we go. You can press left and right. Pink flower seeds. Okay. So there's gonna be a ton of different combinations. Blue Prumba. Sunset trebles. Frillips. Puff pod ferns. All the colors are going to be wild, dude. Yeah, colorblind friendly design built right into it with different symbols. Yep. Hey, T-balls. Yoink. 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 Full of tea. Alright. Where'd he go? There he is. Here we are, back inside the shop. What a whirlwind adventure you and I have been on. Why is this so complicated? I thought tea was simple. Ha! Goodness no. Tea making will crush the mind, it will. He's gotta be Faye. If this is all too much information, then perhaps we should take a small break. Just to let our minds relax a bit. Oh, Boro could tell a joke. You know what? Do it. Okay, here's the joke. A librarian and a farmer are eating dinner in a fancy restaurant. Suddenly, one of them notices a sign that says, "No librarians or farmers allowed." They both became quite scared that they're going to be kicked out of the restaurant, when suddenly the farmer removes his mask and reveals he's actually an astronaut. Or maybe. Actually, hang on. What if they're eating dinner in space, and the sign says no astronauts? Okay, yes, that's much funnier. What? Are you improvising this joke? Yes. Why? Well, Boro's attempting a more organic feeling for the joke. That way the humor is feeling light and fresh. Wouldn't you agree? What? What? You know what? Let's see what he's doing. Let him cook. Fine, but this better make me laugh. Yes, of course. Okay, where were we? The librarian and the farmer are eating dinner in a restaurant in space, and a sign says no astronauts allowed. This means there is no concern of them being kicked out of the restaurant until both of them remove their masks. They are both astronauts. Oh no, this is a tragedy. Surely they're going to be kicked out of the space restaurant. But then, let's see. But then the sign removes its mask too. It is a sign after all. It isn't the sign after all, it's the dessert menu. They both order dessert. One asks for custard, and the other asks for a banana split. Then after dessert, they leave the restaurant and go to a movie theater. Is this joke going somewhere? Miss, this is all part of the process. Humor cannot be rushed. Yeah, but it has to get somewhere eventually. Do not worry. With Captain Boro in charge, this joke boat will be steered safely into the harbor of laughs. Okay. So after dinner, they go to the movie theater, and they look at what movies are playing. Many movies are showing. There's some comedies, some dramas, a couple of horror films, and... let's see. Oh, I've got it. Here's the punchline. One of the astronauts says, "How about this movie? It's called The Train That Ran Out of Fuel." And the other says, "No thanks. I hear it really loses steam at the end." God damn it. Do you get it? The movie and the train both lose steam. What was the point of the astronauts? Why was there a whole section of the joke where they ate dinner and took off their masks? That was character building, creating context. You see, the first half of the joke helps you to care about them. You're invested in their story. No, I'm not. I don't care about the astronauts at all. I see. That's all useful feedback. Boro will be refining and workshopping his material going forward. At any rate, that delightful diversion into comedy has left us both refreshed and relaxed. Shall we get back to tea making? I'm quite excited, because the next step is the most important of all. Boro, why were there astronauts? Behold, the tea machine. What in the name of science? It's like a Rube Goldberg of tea. Yes, the tea machine. It's the most vital part of preparing drinks. Is it user-friendly? Miss, I do not even know. But for your convenience, I'll add a few new pages to your field guide. Oh, dear God. These instructions should help explain how the tea machine is to be used, I hope. They'll also explain where to be using the tea ball and the chip fruit that we made earlier. How does that sound? Would you like to try using these instructions to make tea? Can't you just show me the steps? I'm not sure if I want to be constantly checking a book. Of course. I'm completely understanding. I'll show you the steps to use the machine, but remember that they are all written down in your field guide as well. First, climb up this ladder to the rope at the top. The ladder can be conveniently be used to access all parts of the tea machine. Once you're up there, pull down on the rope to pour as much water as you'd like. Okay, go give it a shot. What happens if we don't stop? More. Next step is to heat up the water. Simply climb down the ladder a bit to reach the bellows. Pump the bellows to keep the heat at exactly the right temperature. Once the water is fully boiling, this step will be complete. Okay, well, let me do more. I was like, but what if? Okay, that's actually hard to get that timing right. There we go. Now that is some steaming hot water. You're doing quite well so far, managing our complicated tea machine with ease. Tell me, are Bora's instructions helpful, or would you rather be figuring out the rest of the machine on your own? I want to figure out the rest on my own. Of course, I'm sure to make quick work of it. Remember that your field guide provides details and the remaining steps if you need. You'll be using the field guide while still on the ladder. Good luck. I'm eagerly looking forward to a cup of chip tea. Okay. It's boiling. That would pour it out. How do we put the thing in it? I want to see if I can figure it out without the thing. Transfer to infuser. Kick the valve on the side of the water tank. This will transfer the hot water to the infuser. Oh, so there's a valve on the side. It's not what I expected. How do I kick it? Where's the kicking? This is how it would drain out. It's got to be in the stairs, yeah? Is that it? Or is it this? Oh god, the ladder moves. Oh, you can slide around with it. Okay. T-ball. And a chip. And then we do that. Wait. Oh god. Is this the tea that you've made? Yep, here it is. Splendid. Chip, and tea leaves. Will he like it? Delicious! It is everything that Bora was hoping for. Won't you join me at my favorite bench? I think it would be the perfect place to enjoy this tea. Fine. That is the spirit. I'm gonna go get another one. Delightful. A cup of tea, a nice view, and a new acquaintance. Tell me, do you find the scenery as enchanting as I do? Is it a feast for your eyes? I'm gonna say it's fine. I will take it. I must say, to hear the note of positivity from you is a beautiful thing, like a ray of sunshine. There are things I like. Oh, do tell. What is bringing you joy? defeating a rival, winning a tournament, or I can't really think of anything right now. I think, realistically, the answer is this. Because nothing is bringing her joy. Winning a tournament wouldn't bring her joy. She'd just be back into that same spot again, where she's fighting. Defeating a rival wouldn't bring her joy because she'd be constantly worried that she would lose to the next one, because she lost twice in a row. I'm going to say I can't think of anything right now. I think that's the one that's most realistic. That is okay. It is just fine to like nothing. For me personally, there are few satisfactions in the world quite like running a tea shop. To make a warm drink and put it in the hands of a customer. Yum. What a feeling. If you ever put your mission on hold, I'm always looking for help here at the shop. Wait. Put my mission on hold? Why exactly would I do that? I simply mean that it is possible you decide to stop looking for this Master Winters. And if that were to happen, you would be welcome to stay here, and... What are you talking about? You think I'm someone who would give up on this? It could happen. People are changing their course all the time. Perhaps you're not able to be finding her, or simply tired. It is normal to... No, stop right there. You've known me for 10 minutes, and you're talking about how you think I'd quit? I've devoted every day of my life to this, every single day for years and years. You have no idea the sacrifices I've made, the pain I've endured. You can't begin to imagine it. Do you understand that fighting is the one single thing I've spent my life on? I can't give it up. I'm sorry, miss. I was not meaning to touch on such a nerve. It's not a nerve, it's me. You're talking about me. If I don't find Master Winters, then I can never be the person I want to be, ever again. But you think I should just give it up? Live in mediocrity for the rest of my life? Just serve tea and try not to spend every single day thinking about how I had everything and let it slip away? Do you want me to fail? Would it feel good to see the big, strong warrior have to fall and cry and beg for help? Miss, can I... What am I doing here? What am I even having this conversation? Oh, your sword's too heavy now. Why? Why can I not lift my own sword? It doesn't make sense. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here right now. Uh-oh. What if he was a fae? No, I can't give up on finding Master Winters. Never. Not until she trains me back up into excellence. Back to being undefeated. If I have to, I can't believe how tired I've been. Now we keep moving. I can't move, I can't. I don't have the energy.
Why are you here in this forest? Because of those fights. I lost and there was no good reason.
Because you pushed yourself too hard.
I lost! It was so stupid. I was undefeated for over 3 years. Remember how bad it felt, Alta? How you wanted to die? That's why you're here, in this forest. Hold on to that feeling. Hold on to that anger.
Driven by spite. Yes, this is the motivation I need. I need the fear and the anger. I needed to lose. I can use it to get better. Look at me. I'm back. How do you like this, huh, Boro? You think I'd quit because it got hard? Maybe once I'm back to normal, I'll find him just so I can show him how strong. It's Fae magic. He's a Fae, chat. Sapping our energy, making us make tea. Ah, there you are. Coming around again. I must say, continuing to carry you here from the forest is reinvigorating Boro's triceps. How are you feeling? Any better? Miss? Something's wrong with me. What's going on? What's wrong with me? I'm not seeing anything wrong with you, miss. I collapsed out there multiple times. That's not like me. Ah, yes, what a surprise that a person pushing themselves to the brink of exhaustion would collapse. It is a mystery. I am completely baffled. I've pushed myself to the brink of exhaustion every day for years, and this has never stopped. Or never happened, rather. Well, perhaps this is the result of pushing yourself to the brink of exhaustion every day for years. The days add up, miss. I'm going to say nothing. Miss Alta, you are tired. Can you not see how tired you are? It is palpable. You radiate exhaustion. I'm not a scientist doctor. I love that, scientist doctor. I'm not a scientist doctor. I did not do the 14 years of scientist doctor school. But it is obvious that what you need is some time to rest. To take your attention off this task of yours and let the mind wander. That sounds unproductive. Extremely. Now you are understanding. Miss Alta being so productive is causing her great harm, it would seem. But if I can find Master Winters, any pain I put myself through now will be worth it. Miss, I cannot make you stay here. You're welcome to return to the forest. You can go out there and run to your heart's content. You can collapse again and again and again, if that's what you want. And then one of these times, you will be collapsing for good. But here in the tea shop, you could spend some time relaxing. Will it fix you? No, but it may let you heal just a little bit. So here's what I'm suggesting. Stay here, help me run the tea shop, just for now. The work is simple here, but it's enjoyable. It's not hard. We have no goals to meet and no schedule to keep. We work on our own time. It might be a good way to take your mind off things and just relax. Then, when you feel fully at 100% strength again, away you go. Simple, restful, and no obligations. What do you say? Let me think about it. Maybe I want to run myself to exhaustion and die in the forest, all right? I want to keep my options open, just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Of course, there's no pressure to come or go. You may do as you please. How about this? I'll be here in the shop, tending to what is needed. If you would like to try out running the tea shop, just come speak with me. Take your time, there is no rush. Look at him go! Hey, maybe I'm here for a good time, not a long time, alright? I want to have that option. Where's Burrow's gym? Dude, Burrow is the gym. That dude is wild. Wait, did I steal his basket? Wait, what is that? That's the sword. Maybe I'll never be able to pick it up again. Burrow could train your triceps? Dude, Burrow is the god of triceps. Oh, actually... what seeds do I have? Just blue seeds? What is this pile of weirdness on the ground? It's like mush. Are there other things I can collect out there in the world? This looks like a chip plant, but I could be wrong. Could be something else. Oh, I'm not a chip. It's the one that gives blue seeds. Yeah. So we can just plant those anywhere? Interesting. That's one of those weird pink flowers. Can I water that? Nope. I like how the sound changes based on what you're carrying. The little tiny touches like that. Yeah, it's really nice. We must assemble an army of plants. Yes, I agree with this. I also want to know how to get the mushrooms, because look, there's mushrooms out here. But this is only for tea leaves. Oh, we can just... a shrink mushroom. A dupe shroom. Mine now. Do those go in tea? They don't. Stash it. Shrink, gift, dupe, and shrink. I'm gonna give him a gift shroom. I want him to have it, Jet. Unless we could plant them. I wonder. What happens if we... Apparently not. What about other things? What if we did mushrooms that way? What about a shrink shroom that way? What if we do... How many of these mushrooms do I have? What if we do that pattern with other kinds of mushrooms? Strange. I need more of this weird chip. Give me them. Give me that. Alright. Probably need a small monster corpse. You may be right about this. Yoink. What happens if I drink the tea? Right? It always overflows, though. Doesn't appear that I can drink it. I can just place it. Aha! So you're feeling helpful, feeling up for helping me run the tea shop, then? Briefly. Literally as soon as I can pick up my sword again, I'm out of here. Of course. The very split second you are well enough. Besides, I owe you for carrying me out of the forest. I suppose this is good for my training. I'm gonna say good for my training. True to the mission. Why are you called Thor? It's my middle name. Born in Thunderstorm. Carrying teacups is low intensity, but it could be good for dexterity development. Miss Alta is clearly taking Burrow's advice about productivity to heart. So, what's first? What's first is that we must be better acquainting you with the shop. Please come with me. You can change it from a horse to a dog to a cow. I'm leaving it on cow radio, dude. Cow radio. Cool cow. Welcome back to the maintenance room. Miss Alta, the last time we were here, I pointed you to the direction of our watering can, but not tell you much about the other tools. They're also quite useful, yes. The broom is for sweeping away unsightly leaf piles that gather outside. We saw one of those. And if you find any trinkets hidden in leaves, you're welcome to keep them. Similarly, if you notice any weeds growing outside, perhaps you'll use our clippers. Personally, Boro finds it quite relaxing to do a bit of weeding. Am I weird for thinking this? Perhaps. It's all quite a lot of information, yes. Here, I'll add some notes to your field guide. Oh my god, the field guide. Also, do you see the little trains moving on the rail? This is our dishwasher. When a cup is dirty, you'll be placing it here, in one of the dishwashing train cars. And the cup will be dropped over here in the maintenance room, thoroughly cleaned. It's traditional rail, train, and waterfall dishwashing system, as in olden times. Is everything making sense so far? Yes or yes lie? I'm gonna yes lie. Very good. I am glad to hear. While we are here in the maintenance room, let us get you some attire. If you run a shop, then you must look the part. How else will customers know to come to you for tea? Oh god, people just walk up to me and ask for me for tea? I want customers to feel intimidated. I want them to feel intimidated. Like they have to buy more tea. You buy 2 cups of tea, alright? That's right. With the right apron, they will. Here, let us see if this apron looks the part on you. Alright. Wow, with this apron you look like someone full of excitement to run a tea shop. This isn't in any way true and you know it. Indeed, I did know it, but I was thinking aspirationally. Okay, there's one more thing we must do before opening the shop. This way. Mark-filled apron? Yes, dude. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it, Boro? What are you doing? What are you doing, Boro? Man, that must be rough pathing like that. He just keeps going, dude. He doesn't care. Cool sword. It is your lovely sword. Very beautiful specimen. The sword is still heavy, too heavy to lift, yes? Yep, still heavy. Wonderful. Please come with me. I accepted a gift from a fae by putting on the apron, yeah. Ooh, pink seeds. Yoink. Wait, where'd he go? There he is. Yeah, we didn't have pink seeds from before. What are we doing? Really doesn't feel heavy to you? Not even a small amount. For now, let us leave the sword right here. Perfect. It's quite lovely here, don't you think? Boro, you don't know how important this sword is to me. Can I be asking where the sword came from? The sword is any mission that you're on. And if you don't take care of yourself, you never get to complete that mission. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to say tell him. When I first began taking fighting seriously, I decided I would smith my own sword. It seemed like a good idea. I threw myself into it, learning everything there was to know about blacksmithing. But soon I realized I could easily spend my entire life just learning to make swords. It was so complex. If I wanted to become great, I had to pick only one thing and commit to it, and leave everything else behind. So I picked only one thing, being a fighter. After that, I commissioned a great blacksmith, someone equally devoted to their craft, to make this sword for me. I was obsessive. I demanded a million alterations. We didn't stop until the sword was perfect. A sword that would let me pursue this one focus and leave everything else behind. I'm not a blacksmith. I'm not a tea maker. I'm a fighter. That's all I intend to be. This sword is a part of me. I feel sick not being able to hold it anymore. I'm going to find a way to carry it again. I promise. Yes, I can see that you will. Boro is most confident in you. Yeah, oh man, this game is already screwing me up. I told you it would. I told you it would. Alright, I believe it's time for us to open the shop. Are you having other questions before we start? I'll figure it out. Perfect. You're already having the entrepreneurial spirit. Customers may very well arrive soon, in case you wish to prepare any tea ingredients for them. Oh, and if you are needing a refresher on how to make plants, try going to our library upstairs. There's a book in there on gardening, written by Boro's very good friend Sylvia. You may find it useful. I'm quite certain Sylvia has phrased it better than I could have. Alright. With that, let us begin the exciting tea management adventure. It is beginning! Here we go. I love his little clap, dude. Are we doing it? Yes, we are doing it. Right now. It is happening as we speak. Okay. Great. Good for us. Good for us indeed. We're all very fey, aren't we? Yeah, Burrow's a fey. He's got to be. Tips for using your inventory. You can swap an item in your offhand, your item in your inventory. Yeah. All right. We need some more of these pink flowers. So I'm going to stash this and then get all these seeds. And then I'm going to go back over here and we're going to set up like a whole area for this. And I'm also going to go get the broom and get rid of the mulch in the way. Is this a full game? I have no idea. Yoink. Stealing it all. I love stealing. I love stealing. It just had a pink seed in it. All right. And some kind of a weird note. Where did that go? There we go. It's got it at the bottom of the screen, but I can't use it? How does one use said item? Interesting. I'm going to take it to him, because it won't let me see it. Not really, anyway. Where's he at? There you are, Burrow. Hey, Burrow, you know a bunch of the plants seemed outside to glow? Well, I was watering a plant, and suddenly it stopped glowing. It won't produce any new fruit or seeds. Ah, Miss Alta, you've depleted the plant of its resources. How industrious of you. All plants are having a finite number of items that they can produce. Once you've been watering them a certain number of times, poof, no new seeds or fruits. The glowing you mentioned is actually pollen. No more fruits, hence no more pollen. It is like retirement for plants. You can imagine them playing golf and attending bingo nights, if you wish. They may not be producing resources for us, but they can still be delightful pieces of decoration. Of course, you're always welcome to be making more new plants if you're needing new resources, yes? More new plant children to slowly shuffle along the mortal thread toward plant golf. I will propel them rapidly towards old age. Yes. Oh, one sec. Little one. Hello. Hello. What are you doing? Oh, I gotta steal it. Ow. Hi. There's all of chat. No? Don't want to go that way? Want to look at that? Oh. Good mouse. Oop. You are so wild right now. What are you up to? What? You didn't want people to be in your hammock with you because you're a big antisocial butthead? You bot people? Been running around going crazy. Yeah, go crazy. Go wild. Go crazy. Sleep. Whoop. She tried to escape. She tried to leap. She was, apparently, other ferrets were trying to get in the hammock with her, and she was like, no, it's my hammock. All right, I'll let the new plants live long, happy lives, or I will propel them rapidly towards old age. We're making them old. Haha, that is certainly up to you. Perhaps the plants are all looking forward to plant golf. Who knows? All right, how do I use this item here? Because I got this item, and it puts it at the bottom of the screen, but it doesn't seem to use it. Oh, hello. Customer. Hello there. Do you want tea? This is a tea shop. Do you want some? No. No, thank you. I'm fine. No tea. Thank you for asking, though. Sure, in that case, I'll just, do something else then. Sure. Sure. Okay. 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 What if everybody who arrives at the tea shop is just like her? All of them have problems like that. And you end up having to solve other people's. Hello, miss. I saw you speaking with our new customer. How did it go? Terribly. I asked them if they wanted tea, right? And they just said no. I see. And what is the terrible part? That's the terrible part. This is a tea shop. People are supposed to order tea. Are they? Who made this rule that one must be ordering tea? I did. I made it right now. That's right. Someone has to make rules. And since I work here now, I guess it's going to be me. First rule is, there will always be rules. And this is the first of them. Miss Alta, you might wish to try a lighter touch with our customers. Some of them will ask for tea, some will not. It is being entirely their decision. We're not in control of them, no? But the rules. Has Miss Alta never broken a rule before in her life? No, this person is in our tea shop. They're going to drink tea. I'm putting my entire mission on pause to be here to make tea for people. They at least could do it respectfully, take tea when I offer it. Well, it sounds like you've made up your... Can it, tea man? We're doing it my way now. Who wants tea? I'm just gonna say, what? Just scream at him. Who wants tea? You're getting tea. I don't even care. That's right. You get over. You take this tea. Hey there. We just talked a second ago. All right. Yes. Hello. Yeah, about that. You said you don't want tea, but that was obviously a slip of the tongue. Let's not dance around it. You're drinking tea, and that's final. Well, I actually... It's just that I'm not really thirsty at the moment, so, you know, no tea for me right now. Yeah, thank you. Do you know what I'm going through right now? Let me explain to you what my day has been like. I can't carry my sword. I collapse every time I go into the forest. I have to be nice to complete strangers like you. That's, terrible? And now I'm out here trying my hardest to run a tea shop for who knows how long. My one responsibility is to put tea in people's hands. That's it. I'm sorry you have to do that. So I'm gonna make you a tea, and you will drink it, because you're in a tea shop. Yes. Are we good? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For what? I need to leave. Goodbye. I'm sorry. What? You can't leave now. How will I give you tea? I'm sorry. I'm really glad that we scared off our first customer. You get back here. You have this tea. You have this tea. It's my one true mission. This is all I'm alive for. Take the tea. Hi, Burrow. I handled that customer very well, I think. Burrow, they left. The person in the cape just walked out on me for no reason. Aha, I see. And did you happen to insist that drinking tea is an absolute requirement here? I see the connection you're trying to make, and I refuse to acknowledge it. Miss Alta, Burrow is very glad to see you tackling your new role, so enthusiastically. But please remember that making tea is only being a part of what Wanderstop offers. Customers may simply want to rest here for a moment, yes? Just a break from travel. Or sometimes they're not even knowing what they want, and that is okay as well. It's 100% a face stop, dude. These people seem like real losers. Sounds like they don't need me then. Indeed, in some cases, that might be true. But then, why am I here at all? If there isn't something I can do out here, I'm going to lose my mind. Otherwise, if I'm not making progress in something, I'm going to freak out. Well, how would you feel about using some downtime to maintain the shop a bit? I'm sure we'll be having new customers soon. It might be good to do some preparation. For instance, if there are any new plants you wish to make, perhaps now is a good time. If you see any leaves gathered in piles, you can sweep them up too. Time between customers is our downtime, Miss Alta. It is a moment just for us. Please, I would encourage you to enjoy it if you can. And if you can, also do Borrow's favorite pastime in the whole world, drinking tea. Would you perhaps be making a cup of tea for yourself? I think you might like it. You should be looking in your field guide to find a fruit flavor that would suit you. With your finished cup of tea, perhaps you find a nice spot to sit and drink it. Sitting in a lovely place with a delightful beverage, it's easy to let the mind wander, yes? It's a time only for you, Miss Alta. Some lovely time to do nothing at all. Yes, a wonderful sort of stuff, tea is. Well then, do you feel as though you have enough to do now in our downtime? None of these sound like measurable objectives. Indeed, they are not. But that is why they are good to practice. It is like anything, Miss Alta. It gets better with practice. I'm very grateful for your patience, and good luck with your continuing tea shop adventures. Is that a free seed? It is a free seed. Yoink. More free seeds. Wait a minute. We found a photo earlier. No. Stash that. No, it's in this pocket. How many pockets do I have? God damn it. That one. There we go. Oh, that's cool. Alright. That broom. Oh wait. More of these horrible things. We actually haven't seen this animation yet. Yeah, clip them. What? Did I just combo sweep that?
Yeah.
All right. I can combo sweep. Interesting. Hue shroom. Oh, my pocket's full. Okay. I have all these new mushrooms. I've got an idea. Let's play around with these mushrooms. Let's do 3 shrink shrooms in a line. Just to see what happens. Nothing. What? Why is he green? Are the other ones green? Wait. His chest pattern is different. I can't pocket this. I wanted to steal him, Chet. It wouldn't let me steal him. Alright. What? What do you want? What do you want? All right. He's coming with me. Oh, I found this. Well, who is this handsome gentleman you've brought me? A fine specimen, a bouncy bundle of bumbling beauty. Miss Alta, it might surprise you that the Pluffins have been in this clearing even longer than Boro has. Indeed, this clearing is their domain. You and I are simply guests. Can I name this one? Perhaps. But miss, I am knowing your fierce demeanor. By any chance, did you intend to name the Pluffin after a swear word? I was gonna name him Butts Hell. Because then you don't know if it's Butts Hell or Butt Shell. He knew. No. I can come up with a normal name. Yes, I absolutely intended to name it a swear word. Yes. Yes, it is quite as Boro suspected. You got me, dude. It's over. At this time, the Committee for Pluffin Naming has rejected your request. But you may reapply every 24 months. Alright. Well, I'm gonna put him in the washing machine then. Or not. It won't allow me. It won't allow me to do it. Here, you live here now. Enjoy your fire room. I need to climb this. I don't know why. Ooh. I love that these slide around, actually. That's really interesting feeling. Wait, he left. The small lad. He's escaped. What is going on with that boot? You got a corrupted boot. You're wearing pajamas in your right arm. You look ridiculous. Wowie McZowie. This looks exactly like a tea shop in the middle of the woods. No way, no freaking way. Is that really what it is? A magical tea shop? Yes. Amazing, stupendous, I love it. It's exactly the kind of wild adventure that a knight would get into. A real knight. Gerald the Knight at your liege. A fair day upon you. And also upon me, who is an actual knight. Yeah, somehow I'm not buying that you're a real knight. You're not? But I have all this knight stuff. What made you think I'm not a real knight? It's just your everything. Sigh, I guess I could do my best to improve on everything. Hey, come to think of it, Timothy is also constantly asking me to improve on everything. He has a broom head. He does. Timothy? My son! And he's just the best darn son in the world. Here, I've got a photo of him. Look at this. Look at him. I took him to the International World of Cheese Museum. He adored it. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would love to go to the Cheese Museum. I'd go. Did you know cheese isn't a plant? Wild, right? For Timothy's birthday, I made him a series of sweaters with my face on them. It's so that if he ever forgets me, he can just look down at his torso, and there I am. Why would he forget you? Always going on about wanting to purge me from his memory. You know how kids are. I don't. Ah, of course. Well, as a father, let me tell you it's very normal for a son to wear a sweater of his father's face. Let's see another Timothy photo. This is us at 3 a.m. This is us at 4 a.m. This is us at 4:15 a.m. This is us at 4:22 a.m. I get it, Gerald. You enjoy waking Timothy up in the middle of the night. What? Why does that... The bird has a package. What? No, I don't. Oh my gosh, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm seeing the pattern now. That's enough, Timothy, I think. Yeah, it's enough. Yes, of course. We should save some of them for later. I don't get the impression that Timothy likes you very much. What? Of course he likes me. I mean, yeah, I may be the world's single biggest dork bot. And so lame, just so unbelievably lame. And oh god, Dad, stop taking photos, Dad, please. People are staring at us, Dad. I want to die. I want to die right now. But other than that, he adores me, I think. Sure, whatever. Would you like a cup of tea? That's what we do here, I guess. Is drinking tea something that a real knight would do? Yes, that's a common trait amongst knights. I'm gonna gaslight him into drinking tea. Then I will absolutely drink tea, as part of my grand adventure. Is there any particular flavor you prefer? Well, to be honest, I'm tired from all this walking. Anything that could wake me up, give me a big ol' shot of energy? I'll go take a look and see if that's a thing. Alright. Hello, T-Man. Puff Pod. Interesting. I need to go find the bird. Where is he? I watched him walk in with a package. There you are. What? Drop that. That's mine now. I'm stealing from you. I love the music. Where's Boro? What's he doing out there? Hey, Boro, I found a thing. The bird had it. It's mine now. Boro, I found a package lying around. What should I do with it? Did he just fly? They can fly. Oh, you must have found a lost parcel. Yes, this is happening from time to time. It seems that when a person loses an item here in the forest finds a way to return it to them. And apparently, the way is by dropping it off here in the clearing for us to put it in the mail. You can take the package over to our mailbox and drop it inside. That will ensure that it is returned to its rightful owner. Does that make sense? This is a place for the lost and found. Yeah. Both people and things. You're telling me the forest placed this package here? Oh, the forest is moving things around all the time. This is quite common. Who can say why or how it happens? These woods simply have a mind all their own. For example, Boro has been looking for his favorite pair of boots for weeks now. Did I simply misplace them? No, surely not. It was definitely the forest moving them around. At any rate, if you do see any packages lying around, you're welcome to mail them back to their owner. Or I can open it. Then it could be mine. Right? Where was that mailbox? Oh, a fairy ring of mushrooms. You returned a lost parcel. What are these? What if we plant something here? Yes, yes. What? What? Okay. Hello, miss. I realize I forgot to be telling you one aspect of gardening. I explained that you can make plant hybrids, yes? But Boro neglected to mention that you can also be combining different seeds when making patterns. Here's an example of a pattern that will not produce anything because the outer ring contains 2 different plants. If you wish to unearth all the fruits our clearing offers, this information will surely be useful. Alright, this is for Boro Informational Hour. All done. Alright. So it appears that we can find other types of secrets. That package allowed us to do that. And that wasn't a thing before. Let's go see what I can make. What about the Knight's Tea? I need to find new types of plants for the Knight's Tea to work. It's a new plant. Never gotten this fruit before. A Vreedlebeet. Something to help wake him up. I wonder if a Vreedlebeet would do that. It doesn't look like something it generally would. It was heart-shaped. So probably not. Love this music. That'll be another Vreedlebeet when we do that. Oop. What if we do these on the outside? Alright. Got all the weird, creepy eggs. Very cool. Need more water. You read the field guide and it'll tell you what fruit has caffeine. Could. Or I could just make very strange looking plants, right? Cozy Farm sim game? Not quite. You see, did you ever play The Beginner's Guide? Or Stanley Parable? It's made by the same developer. Every one of the games that they make has kind of an emotional meaning behind it. There's the puff pods. So not quite that. Tastes like the origins of the planet itself, makes you nostalgic for something you never actually experienced. Chip Chips. Consuming it reminds you of those who have wronged you. Azzy Fruit. Tastes like the day you first met your best friend. Tart, sticky, and high in caffeine. So we're going to use Azzy Fruit. There's the Azzy Fruit. Need to drop one there for a minute. Problem is our stash bag is too full. Azzy Fruit it is. Dump it. Okay, so... new water. Pretty slow chat for 7K viewers. 7. Not every community spams chat. Sometimes people just like to chill. Oh wait, we gotta kick it. I forgot that. Azzy Fruit. Oh wait, we can throw a mushroom in it? I don't want to throw a mushroom in it. T-ball. There we go. It only poured over a little bit. Interesting. Where's our knight? There he is. Hey. Cool boot, by the way. Here you are. Jesus. Wait a minute. I feel so alert. I'm out of my mind with energy. Heck yeah. This is peak Gerald right here. This is my best self. Can you believe that people are always telling me to chill out and for crying out loud, please stop? Well, those people can take a hike because I'm the one with the energy tea now. Literally the best cup of tea that anyone has ever made. Thank you. By the way, can I ask about whatever's happening to your leg? Oh, the purple smoke? It's bizarre, isn't it? I was wondering in these woods, and all that happened is I tripped and scraped my leg. Well, technically I scraped it on a glowing purple sword, and the sword was held by an old witch muttering to herself, who, funny story, lunged at me from the shadows and screamed, "You shall bear the mark! You shall become the shade! Its prisoner, its companion, its smoldering ash left from the fires of decay. Breathe its fumes and become the pain of becoming." I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically it. Gerald, I think a witch has cursed you. Oh, sure. Obviously that occurred to me, but don't worry. I'm fine. Your leg is literally smoking. Yeah, but to heal myself, I did like 100 sit-ups after all this happened. So, I'm pretty sure I'm in peak physical condition right now. That's not how you heal a curse, Gerald. Hey, who's the knight here? I don't think you... Look, I understand. This kind of thing is probably really new for you. If it's really concerning to you, I'll do another 50 sit-ups after I finish this tea, okay? See? I'll be fine. If you say so. Glad you agree. After all, I'm a real knight. And if there's one thing knights are known for, it's physical health and well-being. Okay, time to reflect on the taste of this tea, like a knight. Is he dead? Am I dead? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did I always have that tattoo on my left arm? I don't know if I did. Interesting. Did I? Alright. I think I'm dead. Oh, this guy's back. Oh, wait, the package. There's a package thing. I'll talk to you later. To the person who placed a lost parcel in the mail, Detective Greyline here. That package that you mailed to me just so happened to have been the crucial piece of evidence I needed to crack the Susie Winderkins case. How did this vital piece of evidence end up in your hands? I don't know, but I'm grateful you sent it. Now, little Miss Winderkins will get to thankfully go free and be fully cleared of all charges of mass aggravated livestock theft. It's another victory for justice, and a close call at that. Little Susie has requested that I send you her favorite doll as thanks. It may not mean much to you, but this doll is special to her. She and I both appreciate your help more than words can say. Until next time. What? Why is that in the mail? Okay. It's a little bug. Where am I going to put that little bug? We're going to put it over here. Did I get the little bug? It's gonna put trinkets around, you know? Yeah, they're chilling out, you know? Oh, wait, we can put them up on the shelf. I'm dumb. There we go. Okay, I kind of like this. Wait, what is that? Are those pink? What color are those? Yeah, they're pink seeds. Okay. Oh, Nightman, what are you doing? So, Gerald, is there anything else I can do for you? I need a task I can complete. A task? Hey, you betcha there is. Just now, I was trying to figure out why neither you nor Timothy believe that I'm a real knight. And then it hit me. It's because I don't have a super cool knight pose. Could you help me decide on a great pose that proves I'm a knight? Alright. Let's see this super cool knight pose. Alright, here's what I'm thinking. Yeah! Can you add a bit of pizzazz to it? How about this? Change a display of raw strength in there as well. Urgh. Now do it on one leg. Like this? I want to see your sensitive side. Show me some emotion. Oh, the tragedy, the injustice. Make it like a funny tragedy. Hey. How you folks doing tonight? Heard about this tragedy? What's the deal with that? Now channel all these emotions into your desire to be a knight. Yes, I want to be a knight so badly. Congratulations. You're a knight. I did it. I'm a knight. I can't believe it. Timothy is going to be so psyched. I'm so pumped up right now. In fact, I think it's time I headed back into the forest. I feel like doing something that only a real, actual knight would do. Like what? Well, you know, knight stuff. Anything specific? A true knight can never know what their adventure will be. A true knight must discover the adventure as it happens to them. I read that on a menu at a restaurant once. It wasn't about knights, but I think it still works. Gerald, what exactly do you think knights do? Get into cool adventures? Is that correct? Am I close? No, knights have duties to uphold. They take oaths. They report to someone. Why are you doing any of this? I mean, do I need to have a reason? Can't a really cool dad just be a knight for no reason? Does it have to be to prove to his son that he's the coolest dad on the planet? I never said. But now that you mention it, do you think maybe he would find it cool that I'm a knight? If I got into the most fantastic adventures out in these woods, if I was a real knight, then do you think he'd want to take more photos with me? And to show off those photos to his friends? And call me something cool like Pops McGee? I'm not the person to ask about. With all the nightly adventures I get into, there's no way I could be a total dork bot, right? This is my destiny. This is my story. It's time for me to go out there and be the best knight I can be. As knights are always saying, "Yar!" Good luck, Gerald. So both him... Yeah, this man is cooked, but so am I, right? Both him and myself, we both have a mission that has completely consumed us. One where we can't see anything else outside of that. And we're now in these woods as a result. And it's killing us. What if that's what happens to everyone who comes here? Everyone who's here has their mission, their goal. We might be dead. We could be. Or we could just be lost. Could be in limbo. Reminds me really heavily, there's another game. It's about death. What was that game called? I had to stop playing it because it messed me up. Yeah, Spiritfarer. I was playing Spiritfarer on stream, and I had a family, like a death in the family. And I went, can't play this anymore. It messed me up really bad. Like, it messed me up really bad. And the only thing I can compare this to is you've got an art style that reminds me of What Dreams May Come. You've got a story that is emotionally impactful like Spiritfarer. It's a good feel. Yeah. Oh, you're back again. Ahem. Stay there, local citizen. Have you found yourself troubled lately by malevolent spirits? Oh dear. Indeed, more than ever, demons seem to haunt our ever-waking minute. A tragedy. Surely in your own town, you too have noticed the abundance of unlawful apparitions. What's going on? What are you doing? Then I say, you are in good... Hang on, what comes next? Oh. Then you are in good fortune, because your neighborhood demon hunter has arrived. Pause for excited murmuring. Do you know that in communities without a demon hunter present, those communities are more likely to have demons? The math checks out. Wow, that could be my community. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Surely the price of such assistance is more than I can afford. Well, my friend, that is where you are in luck. For you see, the Order of Demon Hunters believes that these vital community services should be provided at no cost to you. Wow, how could it be? It's almost too good to be true. For although we know that this is a controversial topic, the Order of Demon Hunters believes that all communities deserve to live in peace and security. Pause for shocked gasps. That's why for merely the price of room and board, the highly trained demon hunter before you would soon become a vital fixture in this exceedingly charming neighborhood. Please do not rush to an answer. Discuss it amongst your local elders first, as is needed. I do eagerly await your reply. May your township steer toward its own greatest fortune. I love this music. Cool. Anything else? No? Right. Well, here's what I'm noticing. You're a demon hunter looking for a town to help, right? But I can't give you that need because this isn't a town. So you know, sorry, or whatever. Say, let's discuss the ways in which demons may manifest in your neighborhood. Town hall meetings that run far longer than intended. Neighbors in disagreement about proper fence heights. Anxiety. And many more. Parties being thrown at inappropriate hours. I'm not going to say anything. Just go and do it. Square dancing events taking place without proper permits. Just going to keep going. Conflict over what constitutes a family-friendly karaoke song. Citizens suddenly, inexplicably believing they know martial arts. Neighbors mowing their lawns 4, 5, even 6 times every single day. This is the HOA. The Demon Hunter is the HOA. It's true. Misspellings in community event flyers. And many more. Shall I give more examples? Oh my god, no, please, no more, please. Look, I'm trying to be patient, okay? I am trying. But I need something to do. Something to keep me active. I just can't sit and listen to people talk. So, Demon Hunter, this is a tea shop. I can make you tea. That's all I can do for you. Do you want tea or not? I guess, well, if you have Riedel tea, I suppose we could do a Riedel ceremony. It's a particular kind of ceremony that requires Riedel tea, so, if you have Riedel tea, great. I'll get you the tea. Perfect. Thank you. Back in a second. By the way, you, little lad, I need that, because that's a Riedel. It's a Riedel beat. Give me that. Makes my life easy. Oh, I just realized something. I'd have to dump that whole tea up there. What if I store it? Does it need to be hot tea? Does it matter? Wait a minute. What if what he wants is not what he needs? What if I shouldn't give him a tea with caffeine in it? What if I should give him a tea that'll calm him down? Riedel beats age you by 1 minute by consuming it. What do you want, bud? Ahoy, bringer of tea. I've returned from my nightly adventures. Hey, Gerald. Back so soon? Soon? What are you talking about? I haven't been here in days. Oh, God, no, we're dead. What? But you were just here a few minutes ago. Oh, we're so dead. No, was I? No, I definitely remember setting up camp 3 times. In fact, take a look at this. It's the adventure I got into. Yeah? Oh. It's this. It's a stop sign? Yes, a stop sign. Did you steal it? I don't think so. I just found it. Fine line between finding and stealing, Gerald. Well, it's not stealing if you and the object were meant to find each other. I'm gonna use that. I'm just gonna start stealing and then say I was meant to find this. You know, to find this. I'm gonna do that. The minute I saw this stop sign, something about it called to me. I said to myself, now that's a stop sign with a mysterious and thrilling past. What do you think? There's got to be an exciting story behind it, right? I'm remaining neutral on the matter, but staying open to both sides. Good. I want to have a frank and objective discussion about its history. Let's just think about it for a second. What might this stop sign have been used for? What if an ancient civilization used it to stop, crime? Exactly. Like if they wanted to do crime, they would look at the sign, and the sign would tell them, don't do that. Stop it. You're the 50 gifted memberships on YouTube again, you mad lad. Thank you. Tacos Picantes, always a legend. Unearthing this mystery is really challenging me to be the best knight I can be. Say, could this real knight please have another cup of tea? I'm still thinking about the last one you gave me. Yeah, sure. What flavor do you want? I'll be honest, for 3 days I've been thinking about the tea that you served me before. It was just so interesting. It's really something. Why don't you just get another cup of those? Okay. You know what? Let me give this to you. What? Is that jam? It's Timothy's favorite jam. Alright, I take it everywhere with me. Can we add some of this into the mix as well? Oh shit, I have to make the whole tea again. Okay. Well, I guess we'll dump this out. I guess it's worthless now. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just do it again. I gotta go get that fruit. One sec. Here, let me get this thing off the floor. Don't look at me. I put it on the table. I'm sorry. Wait, what if the kid is dead? Is he dead or is his kid dead? Who's dead? Where's that weird fruit? There it is. The Azzy fruit. Here's the thing that I'm wondering. Are we stuck? And are we stuck because we're dead? Could be limbo. Could be. Don't know yet. Oh god. Oop. Okay, so... No, we don't need that. We need to put in the jam. And then we need to put in... an Azzy fruit. And then we need to put in... Uh-oh. Do we not have any more T-balls? Ah, we do. There's a T-ball. And a T-ball. Oh, it's weird. Alright. My mans, you're getting the weirdest tea imaginable. It's got like jumping berries in it. Here's the tea you asked for. Great. Oh, he's doing it. Jesus. Whoa, this is exactly what I had the last time. And I can taste the jam, too. So cool you made it exactly the way I asked. That's great. Wow, you're so cool. You're the coolest. I bet Timothy would think you're the coolest person alive. Well, I think he's the coolest person alive. That's right. His helmet is hollow? I think so, too. Whoa, you do? That's amazing. I can't wait to tell him. He's gonna lose his mind. I'm surrounded by such cool people. What a lucky guy. How's the stop sign investigation going? I'll be honest, it isn't going great. I was hoping to find some hints of alien civilization around here, but it's just like nature stuff. Plus, the smoke on my leg is getting thicker, and my head is starting to hurt pretty badly. It's becoming a lot, you know? Gerald, are you sure you're taking this seriously? It seems like your curse is getting worse. I'm taking it very seriously. Do you know how many sit-ups I've done? I've done sit-ups to the moon and back. I've done so many sit-ups it would make you dizzy just trying to count that high. I'm just saying, sit-ups can't be the only thing you do to cure yourself. You could ask Boro if he knows how to cure a curse. Ha! True Knight doesn't even know how to spell the word cure. What if there's something I can do to help you? Maybe there's a tea that heals curses. Let me stop you there, kind tea patron. This is a mission for a real knight. Hey, pirate, love your stuff? Thank you. I have to find the solution on my own. Timothy can't go thinking I cheated. There is no way Timothy cares if you cheated. Well, I happen to be an excellent judge of his innermost thoughts. Besides, this is a perfect adventure for Gerald the Knight, a demonstration of my strength. I'll travel out into the forest and find a solution to this purple smoke and pounding headache. Somewhere out there is, Whoa. Did you hear that? That voice? What voice? It was a voice as deep as the stars. It spoke to me just now. I'm sure of it. You really didn't hear it?
Mm-mm.
I did not. Whoa. Weird. Anyway, I really need to be off on my adventure. Thank you for the tea. We're gonna watch what happens when someone doesn't take a rest. His check engine light is on, and he's ignoring it. It's taken the form of a smoking cursed foot and a stop sign, which he's not heeding. Before I go, let me leave you with this. I never found the origin of the stop sign, so maybe you can find it while I'm away. Yeah. How would I know the stop sign's origin? You know. Like if someone comes by and says, hey, that's my stop sign. Just a spot that feels like it's where a stop sign came from. That way you can continue my nightly quest. I graciously accept this most noble of undertakings. Indubitably, forsooth, caprice. All right, I must be off. I bid you adieu. Most conversible of tea stewards. Good luck, Gerald. I'm gonna go put this stop sign somewhere. And then, we're gonna have the developer on. Let's just like put it there. Looks pretty good. Howdy, book lovers. This is the Book by Mail Club reporting in. This month we're reading Edge of a Bullet, which follows the exploits of everyone's favorite tough as nails international super spy, Dirk Warhard. Will Dirk's charm and good looks get him through yet another dangerous mission? Only one way to find out. Till next time. Yeah, stop. Have some tea. Picked up the attached item. Oh, it's a book. It gave me the book. Cool. It's just a book with a gun. It's a gun book. Pretty sure you can do less water when you make tea. You can. I didn't spill it that time. Alrighty. We're gonna go and call it the death. Well, it's nice to meet you. And
It's nice to meet you. Yeah, yeah, you too.
It's kind of wild because I've talked about your games for ages. I'm actually a big fan of them. So if you want to tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what you have done.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Davey. Before this, I was the writer and director on the Stanley Parable, and then the Beginner's Guide, and now Wanderstop, which is the game that you've been playing. And it's funny because Thor, it's weird because you did this video, or this YouTube video short about the Beginner's Guide like a year and a half ago or something like that. And it's that video was like, I mean, there's this massive spike in our sales of the Beginner's Guide that no joke has persisted to this day. Like, I don't know what it is, if it's like that video is just in the algorithm now or if whatever, or people are just talking about it. But like, so it's funny. I feel a weird connection, even though I've never actually met you before. But it's nice to like actually talk to you, in person.
I'm really glad. Yeah, the Beginner's Guide actually got me out of a really bad writer's block at the time. And your game messed me up in the good way, where I was like, oh no, the emotion, right? And it got me out of that. And I told everybody, I was like, just go play this game. Yeah. Like if you have any type of writer's block, if you're stuck in any way, just go play this. And I've been telling people that ever since. So you've done a phenomenal job, and I think you have a really good way of putting in emotion in a way that the player doesn't understand until they go, oh wait, that's me. Oh shit. If that makes sense. And I find that really interesting. I find it really interesting. And you've done that in Beginner's Guide, and you've done it in this so far. And I'm like, no. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, what is that process like for you? How do you do that in a way that is nuanced enough that you can hit more of an audience than you otherwise would?
Yeah, like I would say that for all of these games, for all these big projects that I've done, the way that it kind of works is that at the very beginning, you get there's some resonance, something resonating in your life, right? Something that you're like, that I'm like, it's glowing, and I get this feeling of like, oh my God, I need, like, I'm so like, with Beginner's Guide, it was, I don't know if you probably know the movie The Princess Bride, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Have you read the book? Are you familiar with the book?
I have never read the book, actually. No.
Okay, so you know how in Princess Bride, it's framed, the story is framed by the grandfather telling the story to his grandson, right? Yes. In the book, which the movie is based on, The book is written as though it is an abridged version of a much longer book of the beginner's guide, and the author is telling it to you as though he's abridging it with notes from when his father read the book to him. And so he's constantly interjecting to tell you things like, oh, and then my dad added this section that wasn't in the original book, but I didn't know that when I was a kid, things like that. And it got me, it fooled me. I legitimately thought that it was real, and then I went to a friend afterward. I was like, "Wow, yeah, I love the notes he added from the original." And my friend was like, "Dude, it's not real. Like, it's fiction." And that was so exhilarating to me, and I thought to myself, "Oh my God, nobody's ever done this in a video game before." And that was like when the light went on, and oh my God, that is a great, amazing thing to run with. And then that was kind of like the vessel, basically, that once I started going through the experience of putting out something like Stanley Parable and dealing with the emotional fallout from that, and the feeling of like, wow, I have this work that I've put out into the world that I'm it's almost hurting me now to put this thing out there. Like somehow something is being taken from me, by this thing being as public as it was. It was like that emotion plus the excitement of that first thought about after I read Princess Bride. They were just like, it's like you needed those pieces to be in place to just be ready for one another, right? All you can do is feel those feelings and be noticing when something is exciting to you or resonating with you or hurting you or whatever. You just pay attention and you're like, this is really big for me right now. And then but that's the start, right? Those things are like, okay, now you have your raison d'etre. You have your like, this is why I feel excited about this thing. This is why I think that this is interesting and worth putting out into the world. The remainder of the development process then is bending that weird esoteric idea that you had toward public acceptance.
Yeah, that's the difficult part at that point. It's like, you're
right,
like, I have
right.
this really, really interesting idea. How do I portray that to a person? How do I get it so that they care? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this one is where it's like, unfortunately, the vast majority of it is just brutal, mind-numbing work. It is the mundanity of getting up every single day for like years and being like, oh God, what can I do to to get other people on board with this? Here's the weirdest possible idea that I could start with, And in Wanderstop's case, this really came after finishing Stanley Parable and Beginner's Guide and being and realizing that I was if left to my own devices, I was going to just completely run myself into the ground, and that I would be more than happy to just like obliterate my life in the pursuit of making art, forever. And thinking, wow, I would love something more that felt more sustainable, and something like a way of living that I don't feel this dread about, oh my God, is my work going to kill me? And the idea initially was to make a game about just existing, right? And this was pre Stardew Valley coming out. So back then, a lot of the inspiration for me was Animal Crossing, and I'm a lifelong Animal Crossing fan. I've had this lifelong love-hate with Animal Crossing, where I'm like, I love the vibe and I love the promise of Animal Crossing, but I hate that Animal Crossing always devolves into a resource grind in its end game, which is
and de-weeding your town, and
yeah, right. And there are these pressures and there's these frictions that I think, at least maybe in the context of Animal Crossing, feel necessary. But then the way I think back on the way it's like the way you remember something later versus the way it actually was when you were experiencing it. The way I remember playing Animal Crossing on the GameCube was like, I could just exist and just live and nothing mattered, and that was okay, and I was happy about that. But that's not how those games actually are, right? And with Wanderstop, I was like, I want to make the game that feels the way I remember Animal Crossing, right? The Animal Crossing in my mind. And so again, this is where these things line up, right? I was like, okay, I have this idea to capture what it was that Animal Crossing means so much to me in my head, and I'm going through this real burnout, and something in my life needs to change. And it was just like these things came together. That like first spark where you're like, this is really, really meaningful to me. This is something that feels like it's what my life is about right now. Unfortunately, that spark had to carry me for a lot longer than any of the previous games, because this one was like 7 years, and the others were 2 each. Yeah. And this, now the problem of getting it to the point where the public is enjoying it is a really, really difficult task, because there was so much more that needed to be bent in the direction of public acceptance. It was a real struggle, and I mean, I could talk for hours about all of the points along the way where whatever, something wasn't working, and we were like, well, god damn it, that's not gonna, we can't go that direction. Like, for instance, initially the game was, the concept for the game was that it was meant to be highly procedurally generative, and the reason for that was to get around the cozy game and the end game resource grind, where you're just kind of like, where you just have all this friction against you. And the thought was, well, if we can find a way to create content in a more generative way, then the player can't optimize it because it's random, and so they literally can't control it. And that was the initial idea. And it became pretty obvious once we sat down to start making it, that was not going to be feasible, mostly just on a scale perspective.
Was it just scale, like too many assets, or did it just not work correctly? Or do you have too many dead ends?
This is what everyone knows about procedurally generative content, which is 2 things. The first is, you have no idea if it's any good until you've done a lot of work, right? Like, you have to get,
and even then,
you have to get. Well, yeah, no, I know,
but that's terrible.
But the difference between that and, like, I can sit down and write, like, for instance, the intro to Wanderstop, I can sit down and just write the text of that and show that to someone, and they can be like, oh, I get it. I understand, what this story is about. And you put that next to procedurally generative, and it's like, okay, we're going to take years of working on this before we can even assess whether or not it's doing a good job. Yeah. Right. And then when it comes to narrative stuff, it's like, okay, well, you have to go even further with procedurally generative if you want a narrative element of it to be interesting, because that's so much harder to generate. And there was just this point after point after point where, we would be like, what if we could get the system to generate this, cozy atmosphere that had integrated with personal story in some way, and that, encouraged you to just be in the moment and take things as they are. And then, okay, we were scoping out all the work for that, and everything that's going to take. And that was on one, this was a, Robert Frost, 2 paths in the woods situation. And that's on one path. And then on the other path is Davey just writes a goddamn story. And it wasn't hard to, I really resisted it, because I was feeling hesitant about jumping back into the, like, oh, I'm gonna write this huge personal whatever. But once it became clear that that was the only way to actually get this game done, and once I started to see that people were interested in that, and that that the more bespoke story, that was really kind of hand authored, to be like, no, we're telling this story about this person going through a change in her life, and we're just going to focus on her and watch her deal with that. And that shift just like narrowed the scope way down and made it easy for everything to focus on, like, okay, that's what we're focused on. And then it was just years and years of work executing on that.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that I've really liked about this so far, and your previous work is that you very much so seem to know of like these are the things that I need to say at these exact moments to give a little hint to the player of like you're on the right track emotionally. The way that you feel about this character is correct. The way that you feel about it can be reflected onto yourself in some way. You can see yourself in what this is, even if it's something small. Like a number of people in chat were like, "Oh, that's me. Oh shit, that's me." Right, and that is not easy to do, and that takes a long period of time. So it makes sense that you guys took such a long period of time on this. How many people work on this? Is it just you, or is it you and a team?
No.
Or yeah, how many people
No,
overall
no,
do you
no,
have now?
no. Ivy Road is the team that worked on this. We're about 12 people right now. At our
Nice.
it's the kind of thing where you staff up for more difficult or periods when you need more work. So scaled up to like 20 people at one point, but about 12 people is kind of the the through line there. Yeah.
Also, chap demands to know if you're drinking tea. Was that tea?
I am drinking tea. Yes. I
Perfect.
thought that would be appropriate here. And
Fantastic.
this is a little chamomile for me because I'm having a pretty like brain scattery kind of morning here. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
just
fair. Got to get that calm down tea. You know.
Yeah. But no, it's hard work. This is all that is. It's and again, this is the like, okay, you start with the weird idea and then you bend it toward, your audience. And like of course I can sit and be like, well, here's, my journal entry for today on how I'm feeling. And some of the time that, that kind of just goes directly into the game. But a lot of the time it's okay, I put everything in that I think I speaks to something I'm interested in or that's meaningful to me, and then you put it down in front of a playtester and you talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, that concept completely, I didn't get that at all, right? And you're like, oh, okay, well then I'm gonna add, I think like the way that I like to work is starting obscure and not under communicating themes and concepts, and then talk to people and hear where they're still not getting it, and then just like lift it up in this area. They're still not getting this, okay, lift this up in this area, and then just keep kind of doing that until you're not hearing like a consensus about we're missing clarity in this or that area.
Yeah.
um Repeat for years.
Repeat for years. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
one of the things I always talk to the community about is people are like, well, how do I make a good game? And I was like, show it to people. Because it's gonna suck. Like it's the first rough draft that you put out there is always gonna have like weird flaws and stuff, or your meaning's not gonna come through, and just show it to them and then get feedback and see what it is. So that completely makes sense for going through that entire process. And I'm wondering, like, when you first start going through this kind of a thing, did you have a general idea for how you wanted that story to go? Like you said that you changed it over time. When did you have the moment where you're like, when did you have, I guess, the breakthrough on that is, this is a tea shop where you help people and it helps you, right?
That was actually very early.
Was it?
I like one of the very first prototypes I did was a twine prototype where you are like, it's basically all in text, but you're like wandering through the forest and it's dark and snowy and difficult, and then you come to this little clearing with a shop in it, and it's nice and warm and cozy. And then Boro he was basically in that exact same format back then. This was in like 2016, and he just like is like, welcome, take a seat at the fire if you want to buy some things for your trip. And then you go back out into the woods and you keep sort of returning back to the shop again and again. And so that idea of like, okay, there's this warm, cozy space that I know I'm going to have to keep returning to, because I'm, drawn back to it by something that, I think in this case, what it ended up being is like, okay, the forest is kind of like a magical, has a magical energy that is drawing you, like, okay, you are resisting the message here, and you keep being drawn back into this warm, safe space. And so that was always there quite early. What was not there was Alta and her story and who she is and why this is meaningful to her. Like I really thought I could get away with telling with the emotion of the narrative on a more abstract level, right? And that was where the failing was most apparent early on. Was like, okay, yes, you're telling me about how good this tea shop is and how nice it is for you, but you know, you need this contrast, right? You want this feeling of tension between things, and this is the you know, now that cozy game is an entire genre, one of the things I notice is that it's very tempting, and part of what, when people say like, oh, I want a game that I can just relax with and, you know, just zone out and whatever, is that what that ends up looking like in a lot of games is a very tonally kind of flat experience, you know, where it's everything is just kind of nice and pleasant and happy all the time. And I think that's it's great that those games are there, and I enjoy those games some of the time. But I could tell, it's like, man, why is this game feeling so flat, you know?
I think a lot of them turn
And
into resource management games, like what you're talking about. Like a
well,
whole lot of busy ones. Yeah.
that is the friction. That is
Yeah.
the contrast, right? And you talk to so many people and you're like, yeah, this cozy game is meant to be so you know, light and happy, and yet here I am filling out spreadsheets and checking my
Yep.
optimization of the day-night cycle and everything. So there is a contrast. It's just that it's like hidden under the surface, you know? The game is
Yeah.
telling you one thing, and then the reality of it ends up is kind of this thing underneath, right? And where the gears started to turn on Wanderstop, and where it started to make more sense. Like I always thought there was going to be like a darkness of some kind. Like you were going to, like there was systemically going to be something that was more like difficult or challenging. And some of this has actually made it into the game in a way that is a I'm not going to spoil it
Don't
because
spoil it.
it's
I said don't spoil it. I know this game is
yeah,
going to
yeah,
mess me up
yeah.
in the future, so we're going to enjoy it.
But it was a very slow process of being like, well, I guess I'll add a little bit of specificity to this main character and her backstory, and talk a little bit about, you know, where she came from and what her deal is, and, you know, I'm sort of drawing on my own personal, you know, kind of experiences, and then, you know, basically right away people would be like, oh, that's what I care about, you know, that is giving me more context for why I'm here. And and so the more that Alta became, you know, that tension that is often underneath the surface in these cozy games, the more that Alta actually just came out and said it, you know, said like, no, hang on, why am I here? Tell me what the point of this is, right? Tell me, like, it's not enough for you to kind of like be coy about it. Like, I need answers. I'm the kind of person that needs specificity and answers. And as soon as she started saying that, then it was, oh, okay, great, great. Now the tension is starting to come online. And then we had to just flesh out her story in a so much bigger of a way than I initially anticipated we would.
Yeah, I actually found it really compelling too, because it was like, this is a character that is not paying attention to the check engine light. Like, it's very obvious. Like, the engine's going, stop, stop. And she's like, no,
Yeah.
more. And everything is failing around her. And she's like, the only way I can fix this is by pushing farther. And there's a lot of people that are at their breaking point like that, and they just don't pay attention to that. And I think that resonates very easily with a lot of people, and it was really easy to pick up on it. And the next characters that came in, I've interacted with the knight so far, Gerald there, and it was like, oh no, he's doing that too, but in his own way, in a different way.
Right.
And then it's
right,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
it's interesting because now you can learn more about yourself through another, and they're going through that same thing. And I can feel that that's going to keep happening, and eventually that's going to mess me up. So,
Yeah, that right. You know, again, this became easier and easier the more cozy games started to come out in the course of developing this game. But it was like, oh, I guess, you know, it reminds me a little bit of, I think I heard a story about George R. R. Martin writing, you know, the Game of Thrones series, and I don't know if, I guess spoilers for Game of Thrones, so it doesn't really matter, right? We're past that, right?
ancient,
right?
yeah. It's
Yeah, okay,
a little bit
cool.
ancient, a little bit ancient.
But you know, where he's like, oh, okay, the way the story is supposed to go is that the main character heroically comes and saves his people from the evil, you know, tyrannical leader. Okay, great. Kill the protagonist, right? What's the next thing that's supposed to happen? His son is supposed to come and avenge his death. Okay, great. Kill the son. And that I felt like a similar kind of feeling in terms of cozy game aesthetics, where it was like, oh, what's the thing that's supposed to happen? A character is going to come in and they're going to want tea and they're going to be excited for it, and then you're going to give them tea and it's going to like help them grow and learn, and they're going to like, and they're going to heal in some way because of the tea you brought them, and then you'll feel good and they'll feel good and we'll all feel good.
But
And
it
so that was
didn't.
one of the first things I was like, okay, well, we're going to chop that right in half.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, immediately
We're gonna,
the first sense that I got was like, I gave him that tea and it's making him worse.
oh,
Like I gave him caffeine and he's already
Yeah.
too amped. I was like, what if I gave him something different? I screwed up actually by giving him what
right,
I wanted.
right.
Yeah, it was the
And this
first
is,
thing that I said.
it's really hard in that case to to like communicate to the player, like, no, that's the intention. Right.
Mhm.
And I'm already seeing this in some of the, like, because we've got some reviews and things coming out, and I'm noticing some of it where people are like, no, dude, I want them to grow and change. I want to see that they are, if that the people are like evolving as a result of these actions that I'm taking. And kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, that's not really the game we're trying to make here. That's I'm
Yeah.
trying to make a game about how a lot of the time, most of the time, people don't change, or the change is like so difficult to perceive from the outside that to you it doesn't look like they're changing.
Yep.
Right. And if they are changing and if they are growing, it's usually something that they're doing on like an interior level that you don't get to. And then maybe like 10 years later, that person calls you and goes, hey man, I'm realizing I was an asshole to you back then. Right. If you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you roll that dice exactly right, you get that call down the line. But a lot of times you don't. And then you just have to live with it. And that's life,
That is. So what got you into game development in the first place? Right? It's always going to be different for everybody. And I'd like to
Yeah.
hear what yours is.
I think as a kid, I always imagined I would go into games because I just played games all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed like obvious. Well, duh, obviously that's what I'm going to do. And then somewhere in high school, I made this, what at the time felt like a very rational decision, which was, wait a minute, I love games, but a lot of what I love about games is the storytelling. And that's what excites me. And if that's what I want to do, then film is just the story part of games, right? It's
Yeah.
just the story without the gameplay. Therefore, ergo, ipso facto, I will love making movies because that's the story part without the game. And so I went to film school, and very quickly I learned, oh, film isn't just video games without the game. They're actually two completely different mediums. And really did not enjoy film school, just because I didn't love film, and making anything is really, really hard. Making films are it's really, really hard, especially if you want to be in the industry. And I just didn't love it. I didn't love it. And so that was kind of in the middle of film school. I was, had this existential crisis of being like, well, I don't love film. What do I actually love? What I actually love is games. And then this is where, luck kind of plays into it, because this was like 2007, 2008. I am right at the start of the indie explosion. And so suddenly it was like, oh my God, there is a whole world of games this culture is exploding right now. And so I downloaded the Source SDK, which I knew about because of games like Dear Esther, the original source mod version, and then some other source mods called Radiator by Robert Yang. And those really inspired me to be like, well, I can just use this and just do this in my living or in my bedroom. And because I was not very good with Source, with how to, I didn't know how to use it, I could just open up the Hammer level editor and drop some blocks down, and this question of like, what could I actually do with this that would be meaningful to me? It was like, well, I can make empty hallways, and I can stream audio. And so like, what could I do with that? And I think I had always loved the idea of like a narrator. I just liked sort of unreliable narrators, you know,
Unreliable
in
narrators are
media.
fun. I love narrative
Yeah, they're
screws and
fun.
unreliable narrators. Yeah, that's super
Yeah, it's
enjoyable.
fun.
Really enjoyable. I actually have narrative screws in our game, and it feels great.
Mm,
Like it feels really
mm,
cool to like do that kind of
yeah.
stuff and play with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
gives players different experiences from it too. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. And it was very managed. It was very doable
Yeah,
because if you're just walking around in like a, you know, in a level and someone's talking to you, that, you know, again, just this confluence of factors. Like I have, okay, well, here's an engine where I can just build empty hallways and stream in audio, and then because it was, you know, my first like game, I was, you know, it's that first album thing where you're like, okay, well, you have your entire life, the entire lifetime that you've spent building your taste and your sensibilities. And so, you know, I was drawing on things from, you know, Metal Gear Solid and Half-Life to, you know, Charlie Kaufman films like Adaptation and Eternal Sunshine, and you know, Chris Nolan movies like Memento, and you know, all of these things that were, you know, really meaningful to me. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna cram as much of that into the game as I possibly can. And then that was Stanley Parable. And the initial like concept, what I because that this was at the time when Valve was hiring modders to Valve to just like make games for them, you know, like that's where Portal came from. And so that was my idea, was, oh, I'll make some games like this and get hired at Valve. And then by the time I actually finished the game, it, you know, took me 2 years to make that initial mod. And then I was so exhausted from it. I was like, oh, no one's going to care about this. This is all right, whatever. I'll just go get a real job. And then I put it out into the world, and oh, it did a lot better than I thought it was going to. And so that's when William, who was the level designer on the actual, you know, commercial release of Stanley Parable, he got in touch with me and said, hey, let's make a more complete, fully realized version of this. And he, with a few other with a few other people, you know, we worked on that thing together. And so that, you know, that it's like, man, a lot of it was hard work, you know, and dedication, but there's just this luck component to it. It's crazy to think, you know, this was like, again, 2009, 2010 or something. You're at the precipice of this culture. Like the jet, you know, the rocket is like billowing plumes of smoke, and you're standing right there watching it, you know, soar into the air. It was, I mean, an incredible time and an incredible confluence of circumstances. And I feel very lucky that you know, I really don't know if, you know, if I tried to do all of that 5 years later, it's really hard to know what that future would have been like.
yeah. No, I mean that makes sense. And a lot of art is time and place. You know, it's how you feel at that moment. The things that you build right then is based on how you perceive the world at that time.
Mhm.
So it
Yeah.
makes sense
Well, that's,
completely to me.
I mean, good example of that is Beginner's Guide, which I was, you know, after I had all this Princess Bride concept, and then, you know, I'm like, oh, this is really cool thing. That was all before the 2013 version of Stanley Parable came out, before the commercial release came out. And in my mind, what that was going to be was basically, I thought like, okay, it's going to be this, you know, narrated by me, where I'm showing you someone else's games and walking you through them. And in my mind, it was just going to be a really weird, wacky experience with just a lot of crazy, bizarre, psychological, cerebral, mind-bending stuff in it. And basically, it was going to be similar to Stanley Parable in tone. It was what I wanted. I just wanted to like mess with people's heads. And then so I was already kind of like doing some work on that, like planning it, outlining it, whatever. And then Stanley Parable came out, and my emotional landscape completely changed, because I all of that like validation that I was craving and all of that, look at me, look at me, look at me, is like I got all of that. And I had everything suddenly on my plate that I could have wanted. And so I went into this really big existential kind of crisis spiral, where I was like, wow, I have everything I've ever asked for and I'm not happy. And I was really scared, because I it was like terrifying to think that, oh, I've gotten all of the validation and the recognition that I want, and I'm not happy. Maybe I'm broken. And so it was a very like emotionally confusing time. But I had this game idea that I was working on, that I was really interested in.
Yeah.
And so rather than Beginner's Guide becoming this like crazy cerebral mind-bending constant twists and whatever, it's sort of like it just kind of like focused down into like, oh, I need to tell a story about like what it is to deal with yourself when you're making a piece of creative work, and and how you affect people outside of yourself, even without you realizing that you're doing that, when you're not when you're not treating yourself in a healthy way. And again, it's just circumstance, you know. It's like if I hadn't already been working on the concept for Beginner's Guide when I went through all of that stuff, I'm really not sure I would have made that game. I think I would not have had the time, the energy, the interest. I think it's because I already had momentum, that I was just kind of able to run with it. So yeah, you work really, really hard, you do your best, and then some of it is just chance, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes sense. I think it's something that works really well is writing from what you feel at the time. And
Yeah.
I can tell playing your games that you're putting a ton of yourself into it on top of trying to make sure that it goes through to the player.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's definitely working, and I think that works well. How
Yeah.
with that in mind, right? Have you ever found yourself in a position where you're like, I don't feel the way that I need this game to make somebody feel? Like, have you ever gotten to that point? You're like, I'm trying to put a story out, but I don't feel that way. What do I do with this? Because it seems like that's not happened so far, is what it looks like. But I'd be interested if it has.
It's a really interesting question. Never thought about that. It's weird because like the answer in my mind is both yes and no. But I'll explain what I mean. That first feeling, that first time that you were like, oh my God, this is the coolest idea in the world. I love this so much. This is so interesting. It would be really hard to continue through the long slog of making this thing if you didn't believe at some point that this was meaningful and interesting and worth telling. And I think that there's some extent to which you definitely do not feel good about it throughout, like while you're working on it, but you just keep on pushing through because you know at one point that there was something that was really meaningful to you and really personal and specific and interesting. And so you're like, well, I'm just going to trust that that's the case, right? And so that's, in that sense, like, no, I'm constantly at a loss for the right feeling and the right emotion to put into it, and I'm constantly scared that I'm not going to have the juice needed for it. And it's a huge act of faith, and it's a huge act of perseverance. But then there's like another half to it, which is, at least for me, and I don't know if this is like a good thing or not, but oftentimes when I'm in that state of mind where I'm like this is it, I'm washed, I'm done, I have nothing, I have no more good ideas, I have no more feelings that are worth feeling, I have nothing else that anyone's going to want to experience. A lot of times that's kind of this impasse where it can motivate me. It can be like, I haven't dug hard enough. There's something I'm missing in myself that I am not bringing to the surface because the faith and the blind trust in the process is, if you tell the story in a deep and emotionally nuanced and interesting way, then people will get it. Not everybody, but the people that you need, the people that need to experience that thing will get it. And you're like, I have to believe that there is more in me that I can dig up. And that's really hard. That is like, ugh, there's things that, again, I won't spoil because they're further down in the game, but it was like huge parts of the plot that didn't come in until very late in development, where it was like for years we had to like, oh, this is how the story is going to go. And I had one play test with a person that it was brutal. It was like, you are not saying anything with this. And I thought I was like, I'm definitely saying something. And someone sits down and plays it and goes, no, you're not. And I mean, that's the kind of, after years of work on something, that's the kind of situation that can really, like, I think, break a person, you know? Um, and I again, this is why I say I'm not sure if this is healthy, because my impulse is to take that energy, and it's spite isn't the right word. It's not spite toward the other person, it's spite toward myself. It's like, all right, you bitch, what else you got? Is that it? Are you gonna give up? Are you gonna,
Driven
this
by
is,
spite, yeah.
I'm not sure that this is like a good way of doing things necessarily. This is it's
It can be.
well, here's the problem is when it works, right? Because
Then it becomes the go-to. Yeah.
after that playtest that we did, I actually genuinely sat down and rewrote a substantial amount of the game in a way that now is like, I think for people is like, oh, this is much better. This is obviously much better. And part of what I got to there was like, it was basically an element of Alta and her story that felt, I was worried it was going to be too trite and too on the nose. Because it was basically just like, again, like my journal entry, right? Like I'm tearing a page out of my diary and just putting it in the game.
This was
And I
my
was
problem
really
today, yeah.
yeah. But then you look at it and you're like, oh, come on, who's gonna care about that? Who wants to read my live journal entry? But I think what we found is that, and again, not for this is like it's a really hard thing on this game was to give up the idea that we're going to please like a mass audience of people and say,
you're never really going to, no matter what you make. There's always going to be a huge
well,
amount of people that
you know what? The weird thing is, Stanley, it was not for everybody, but it was way more of a mass audience reception than than I could have expected. Then sometimes I'm like, how did that game get as like popular as it did? It's a really weird game, and very like, okay, I'm going to intentionally do all of these things you're not supposed to do.
You broke a lot of rules with it, but that's what makes it fun,
Yeah. But then, when it comes to like continuing to make stuff, you're like, okay, well, I have to continue to trust that breaking those rules is a good thing. Right. And in the, frankly, in other non-Stanley Parable stuff, I see that breaking the rules has a lot of consequences, and it loses you people, right? And so now there's this whole other side to it, which is by trusting that the personal narrative that you have, that you put into it, is going to is actually going to be meaningful. You're really focusing on, like, who is this for? This isn't for like a big group. Like I'm lasering in on someone who is going to read this live journal entry of mine and feel like, ugh, they're going to feel that like pain. And we all know, we've all read a live journal entry that made us go, oh, this fucking guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's the weird risk of it. And I think that's, to kind of answer your question, part of what has gotten me out of that in the past is finding that thing that you're like, ugh, people are gonna roll their goddamn eyes when they see this. That's the way it occurs to you, right? That's the way it occurs to the creator in the act of doing it. Is like, yeah, of course I would say this, but But that's not the way a real writer would do it. A true author would obscure it and hide it behind layers of
You just move all these
you know.
goalposts, like just put them all in front of you and be like, oh, it's got to be better than that somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You
You bullshit yourself out of making the thing, really, at that point.
Yeah. And you want to be good enough at the craft to know how to not hit people over the head with it, but then like some of the time, just laying it out there and making it obvious, is like, I mean, this is part of why we did the intro to Wanderstop the way we did, is I was like, I think especially if this is going to be like a cozy game with all this pleasant stuff and all these happy things, I think we need to be really, really clear and straightforward right off the bat what the tone is that you can expect,
Mm-hmm.
And then you're trusting that people are going to be okay booting up their game and sitting through a 4-minute cutscene. But that's the kind of thing where it is really hard to trust in yourself and in your the feelings that you may be having, that like someone is going to connect with this, and then also be okay that like some people are going to roll their eyes at it and be like, ugh, come on, man, and so I don't know, it's really hard. It's really, really difficult. And it gets harder and harder the longer and longer your project goes, as you keep going back to the well and getting another thing, and then back to the well and getting another thing. And
would you say that process happens because you're just kind of afraid, where you're like, oh man, I don't know, this is going to be, because you don't have enough information at that point? Yeah.
And it also is having a pedigree, I guess, is kind of both a blessing and a curse here, because you're like, I have these games that I've made in the past that were successful. I know that some number of people are going to show up for this one, but I also know that because of that, there's a lot of people that are going to be really disappointed, and there's a lot of people that this is not going to be what they want it to be. And you're scared and you're terrified. And the going back to it again and again and again is like, I can't fail. I can't let these people down. I can't, and again, I'm not endorsing this as a way to do things. And I don't even think that this is going to be like feasible for me to do it in that way going forward, because it's so demanding, like it was super demanding doing that on a 2-year development cycle, let alone like a 7-year, development cycle. So there's a lot of fear that has driven me in the past, and I'm not like proud of that. I would never endorse that, but that is the kind of the reality of it.
I mean, I think that happens sometimes. You can be driven by spite sometimes, driven by fear, maybe just getting your emotions out there, like you said, writing it like this is my journal entry. All those things can lead you to make something really cool, as long as you don't let it consume you, right? Like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, the weird irony of Wanderstop is that story of me doing that and really just letting it consuming me is, the more I realized that that's what was happening to me, the more I just went, like, to your question about, okay, what happens when you no longer have any new material? It's like me looking at that and going like, oh, I am running myself into the ground, incapable of taking a moment to breathe because I am so scared of failure. Okay, great. That's what the story is going to be about now, right? Yep. And then you kind of get that, like, for free.
Yeah.
For free. Because it's just happening in your life, and so you can do that, right? That's one way of doing it, is being like, okay, well, I guess then the story I will make is about the fact that I tried to make a game that I thought was just going to be like simple and pleasant and heal me, and it didn't. And so that's what our protagonist is going to go through now.
I think that's really interesting, actually. And I like that kind of a thing of pouring yourself into these games. I think it's something that, at least in the industry now, we see a lot of kind of commoditized games where it's like, oh, we're making a game because the game will sell. making a game because it's going to reach the widest possible audience, which everybody wants their game to be loved by a lot of people. But when you write something that's a very yeah. But when you write something that's a very personal story or something that's kind of like healing that way, or a different way of doing things, there's a shitload of risk involved. There's a lot of people that just don't like that, or it doesn't hit, or they don't understand, or they that doesn't hit with them. But for the ones that it does, it means a lot. Yeah. And that's exactly why I told people about, like, hey, go play the Beginner's Guide, because that meant a lot,
And Beginner's Guide as a game is really kind of interesting, because I did that specifically knowing that when I put it out, I was like, a lot of people are not going to like this, and that's fine. And I actually, when I put it out, I basically went offline. I gave a friend my email account for like a month, and just went on and just took a trip and didn't look stuff up online, and that was amazing. And I was really in the right mindset for that. Like I was prepared for that going into it. Wanderstop, it's like I've been much more up in it. It's like demanded that I be much closer to it, and so in some ways that makes the mixed opinions very difficult. Yeah. Oh, can you? My lights just
did your
blinked
lights
off.
just go out?
I don't know what happened. My everything just blinked off for a second, but
it's the haunting. Good. Don't worry, you're just a little
haunted. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. It's just the ghost of my past self come to get revenge on me for everything I did to myself while working on these games.
There we go. See, game dev.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a normal. It's just everyone has to go through the haunting. Yeah,
it's normal.
You just gotta just be okay with it. But yeah, that is a really weird thing to deal with, especially when I do have these successes in my past that are sometimes the history of the weight of those things is hard to. But then you're like, man, would I have cared at all about making a game that I thought was just going to be like loved by lots and lots of people broadly, 98% positive on Steam reviews or whatever? Would I have been interested in that? I want the outcome from it, right? I would love the result, but would the actual thing that I'm working on have been interesting to me? Would I have thought to myself, like, yes, I'm glad that I'm happier that this thing exists than that it doesn't. I'm glad for the world, for this to be out in the world, the way that I look at other pieces of media, and I think to myself, like, oh, I'm glad that isn't for everybody. I'm glad that that's not trying to, appease some big group of people. I want this stuff to be kind of divisive. And so, it's more interesting to me to work on. I don't think there's a world where I could have sat down to make a game like this and been like, the point of this is everybody is going to love it. I'm just not even sure what that would look like.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you can't even make something that everybody's going to love. I think that's kind of a weird pipe dream, right? Like I feel like if you did that, you'd try to make something so milquetoast and bland that no one would enjoy it. They'd be like, I don't know. Like no one can identify it.
But you can do things. I mean, a good example right now is like Split Fiction has just come out, and it seems to be like everybody is loving it. I haven't played it yet. I'm excited to play it. I loved It Takes Two. Same. I think Split Fiction is going to be great. But you're like, what that is. It's an identifiable quantity, right? Yeah. Like, I've played It Takes Two. I loved It Takes Two. I'm going to love Split Fiction. I love that stuff exists and is in the world, but that is where you're like, okay, it's a known entity that's coming from an established
kind of genre.
Whatever the type of style. Game, we can hyper refine this to be all of the things that people exactly love about this kind of game, and we'll go all in on that, right? And obviously, if everybody knew how to do that, everybody would just only be making those kinds of games. It's like, it still takes a particular, type of person working in a type of way with a particular type of team. It's still very hard. But you know, I've never made a game or finished a game and then been like, I want to refine that concept and do it even better to reach more people. Like, usually by the time I'm done with something, I'm like, great, I've said literally all I have to say with that. I'm pretty sure, and I mean, I don't know what the future is going to hold, so there's no way to really know, but it's hard for me to imagine right now that I'm like, yeah, there's more stuff that I have to say with a cozy genre type of game, you know, that I didn't already, that we didn't get that into Wanderstop in some way. Like, we treated this like it was the last game that we were ever gonna, you know, do like this, and let's get absolutely everything in. That's how I treated it, you know. So that the trade-off there is you're like, well, now I can't refine that concept, you know. You can't do like a sequel to that. You can't say what were the parts of this that were difficult for people and help make that better for someone in the future, because the nature of it inherently is that it resists moving in that direction, right? So I don't know. It's a very particular way to go about thinking about making games, and I don't recommend it for everybody. It's if there's definitely certain people that like making games like that is like, great, that's what I want to do. But I'm also like, it's really difficult and demanding to be like, kind of every time you start a new thing, you're like, well, I'm more or less starting from scratch here on this, you know.
Why are we always talking about the people's feelings while making games in Thor's interviews? Oh, because the feelings are what matter the most. Like, when you're doing a creative piece, the state of mind that you're in when you're doing that is incredibly impactful on what you're building, like insanely so. And understanding a creator and how they feel at the time that they're making something, I find is dramatically more important than what drives the creation of that thing monetarily, if that makes sense. That's way more interesting to me, at least.
But it is a reality that you make these things and you're like, if you're trying to do this for a living, you know, you want it to make some amount of money. If that is a part of what, you know, why you're doing this. And
yeah,
you know, and again, especially when you have like a funding partner like Annapurna, like we did on Wanderstop, you know, it's like, okay, well, I still want it to like make back their money for them, you
yeah.
know, which is just a complicating factor. And yeah, part of what makes a development of this size really, really demanding, you know. Like, if it truly was just like, I don't care at all what the audience thinks, that would be, in some ways, it would make it a lot simpler. But I do care. I am actually trying, you know.
Yeah. Do you think that is like the idea of monetary pressure has in any way changed how you approach this creation?
Wanderstop specifically, do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Annapurna was a very generous funding partner with us. They you know, gave us resources kind of well past what we initially, you know, agreed to. And you know, and of course, you know, you have you know, your terms of the contract can get updated and changed based on you know, the amount of money that is being agreed to.
Contract stuff is terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's a whole complicated thing. But so, you know, in that sense, like, they were really, it was they gave us the freedom to be able to do this, you know, and really go as long as we wanted. And honestly, if you know, if they had been any less generous with that, if we had had any meaningfully less time, there's no way that Wanderstop would have been able to launch, and, you know, with the quality that I would have been happy with. But I think that it then kind of turns around, and I'm like, you know, I really like the people at Annapurna, and I want it to do well for them and on their behalf. You know, someone is putting their faith in you, you know. I won't be financially ruined if Wanderstop bombs. But I also, I want to support them, you know. And so maybe in that sense, it's just kind of like the buck shifts a little bit, you know, from being like, because then of course it's really nice to know you're financially insulated, but then, you know, well, okay, part if Wanderstop really bombs, we're gonna have a hard time. I would feel really bad for the people at Annapurna, and also it's gonna make it harder for us to, like, you know, get any other funding to do any other kind of project.
I hope it doesn't bomb. So it's quite cool. So
Yeah,
far,
no, I
it's-
don't, I don't, I don't think it will. But you know, it's like I said, it's not a game for everybody, and so it's there is a real, you know, as we see it go out into the world now, I'm doing a real kind of thing of like, man, I'm trusting in the people who, you know, really connect with this to share it and want to talk about it,
Yeah.
because that is so much of, you know, when you talk about like what kind of outcome you're looking for in a project, one of the outcomes that I kind of look for as a measuring stick is like, when someone plays this thing, does it make them want to talk with other people about it? And that's one of the things that when I sometimes I ask our playtesters, you know, I say, like, after they've played it, I'm like, is there a person in your life that you know that have you had a thought that you wanted to talk with, that like a specific person, not just people generally, but like a specific person that you know that you're like, I want to know what that person thinks of this game. and because that to me is like, that's kind of a specific thing that I can use as a, again, like a measuring stick of when this thing comes out, will I be able to count on the people who play it and who love it to you know, be generating momentum for us,
Like
which is
enough
great.
momentum, yeah.
It's good both, you know, for your game commercially and all that, but then it also, you love to see that you're having this really personal impact on people, you know, that it's easier when you can tell that, like, oh, this game is going to stick with you for a while, you know.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to be thinking about this for, you know, for quite a while after the credits have rolled. I don't know, I find that I and this is, you know, with Beginner's Guide, it's like, you made a video about Beginner's Guide like 8 years after it came out, you know. If that is, I'm not, and I don't mean to call out like Split Fiction, because I'm sure Split Fiction is going to be an amazing game, and maybe people will be talking about it for a decade. But there's games like that you're like, oh, this was really fun, you had a good time, and then you stop and you never think about that game ever again. Right? And those, I there's many of those games that I love. They're wonderful games, but I'm like, man, if I'm going to make a game, I want it to be something that 8 years later someone's going to be making a YouTube video and being like, hey, if you're going through this in your life, I highly recommend playing, you know, Wanderstop or whatever. Yep. And that is coming from like an authentic place where people are genuinely wanting to share that.
And I think that's rare. That's incredibly rare. Like, to have a game that does that.
It's really hard. It's really hard because you can't sit down to design that. You know, you can't be like, here are the steps that we will take to, you know, you wanting to there's no like design document you can do for that. It's again, it's that act of faith that if I put these things that are really personal to me and really important to me into the game, and I do it in this really like vulnerable kind of way, you know, I'm trusting that that's going to like, that there's some number of people out there that it's going to hit them and and have this like physical, visceral reaction in them. And then that's the thing that they want to go talk about, is the visceral reaction that they have.
Yeah. I have an interesting question. Seems to be, let's see. I have a question.
Can I just say, it's good to finally have an interesting
question.
It's an
interesting one. So I have a question. Yeah. If Davey suffers a tragic accident, which of his siblings gets the money in his will? And this is from apparently a man covered in gasoline in chat there. Yeah. Who could that be? Who could that be?
People who missed this conversation in the ads are really scratching their heads right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to say that it's all going to our sister, and none of it is going to Doug. So
wow. Damn.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Unfortunate.
Just being honest and vulnerable out here.
Yeah, handing him matches, dude. That sucks.
Hey, he brought this on himself, okay?
It's true. I feel like that's true. I could see that.
Yeah.
Having known Doug and met him. Yeah.
Just that kind of guy.
Yes. Oh,
well, hi, Doug. How you doing?
How's it going there in chat, Doug?
How
What's
you
it
doing,
like?
Doug? What's it like? How's it feel being on the other end?
Yeah,
You
not
know?
on stream.
How's it feel being just a little guy in a big pond, you know? Not so tough now, not so high and mighty, are you? No. Oh.
Wow. Yeah, he's so look at absolutely annihilated, dude. Oh no, just a mere
Now it's
chat.
my stream, okay? Now you chat in my stream.
It's him. Yeah, it's him. It's his stream now. It's happening.
Yes.
He's taken.
Yes.
I've actually signed away the channel to him. It's over.
Yeah,
now.
get ready, everyone.
Yeah.
Your new overlord is here, and Doug is a mere peon now.
This, yeah, this is good.
This is good, yeah.
Good evolution of the channel. Yeah, this is the content.
Is this the content that's yeah, right.
So, what would you say to somebody who's just starting out and getting into game dev? What would you say should be their guiding factor for them? What do they need to do in the beginning? What's important?
It's hard, man. I mean, this is such a hard question because my and I talked about my background earlier, but the landscape that I got into this in was so different. Everyone knows how many games there are out there now. Everyone knows how hard it is. I feel like at one point I had like some answer to this question that I was like, oh right, if anyone ever asks, I should be ready for that whenever someone asks. But maybe I'm just in the heat of this launch that we're doing right now, and maybe I'm scatterbrained and everything. But it's going to, when I went to film school, it's not that I don't like movies. I really like movies. Movies are great. I love movies. I'm really interested in story and talking about story and films and TV and whatever. But the industry was and is so difficult in film that the expectation is when you go out to make a film, you are just going to do a lot of grunt work that you aren't going to get any meaningful kind of validation from, and you're just going to do that for decades, and you're going to spend a lot of time grinding away on projects that are not meaningful to you, to just be in the right place at the right time, where you can't expect to get that big break. You have to love it so much that you're willing to just deal with it for maybe ever. And that was a critical juncture for me, because I was like, oh, I don't love this enough. I don't love this enough to do it. But I would look around at the people around me and I'd be like, they all have an advantage over me. If I'm trying to get into a film project and they are too, they're always going to have the advantage because they love it. And because they want to be here far more than they want to be anywhere else. And even with all those difficult things, they wouldn't give up being here because it's because something in them is like too stubborn or whatever, or too in love with this to let go. And there's this, it's complicated, because you're like, well, okay, those people are going to be doing a lot of menial grunt work that they're not really enjoying for a long time, and not much job security and maybe not much pay. So do you recommend that to someone? I don't know. That's hard to recommend. But when I think about games, and back when I started, it felt much more like, you don't have to do all of that. You can kind of just make a halfway decent game and you're in the door. And nowadays it's like, no, it's like film, similarly, where you're like, not a ton of job security, a lot of grunt work for not necessarily, a huge payoff. And so in terms of getting like into, say like a sustainable career as it working in games, I think that it has to be one of those things where you have to love it. You have to be like, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else doing anything else. And that love, it has to be there on some level. And part of how you figure that out is by doing it, right? I mean, everybody's had this experience where you're like, there's this skill that I really want to learn. I'd love to learn the piano or whatever. And so you go to the piano and you play it a little and you're like, yeah, it's kind of cool. You learn a couple songs, and then like a couple days go by and you're like, oh, I haven't sat down and played any piano. And you're like, you should, but then you're like, yeah, I just, I'd rather, I don't know, do something. I'd rather chill or go for a walk, or,
You just don't
sit.
want to, yeah.
TV or something, and you just kind of every day is just kind of like, yeah, I'd love to, but it's just you just don't do it. And then you sit and talk with someone who's like a composer, and they're, it's their job and they're sustainable and they've got a foundation, and they're like, I couldn't stop playing the piano. I couldn't tear myself away from it. I didn't know how not to be doing that. I don't think that like endless work is the way to do it. But I do think that passion shows up as a willingness to do a lot of work because it doesn't drag you down, right? And this question of, does this drag you down? Is this putting more weight on you than what you're getting out of it? Is a really, really important question for anybody that's trying to learn something well enough to do it well enough to be capable of going out into the world and doing it well enough to be like, to build a foundation for themselves and to be sustainable. Again, don't mistake it as like doing a lot of work is the thing that I could have gone to film and done a shitload of work and ground myself into that and gotten jobs, right? That would have been terrible for me as a person. And you can't look at the success and reverse engineer that, right?
Yeah. I've gone through the exact same thing as I went to college for entomology, and I loved it, right? I love bugs. I think the insect world is really cool, and I went to go there and do that, and I was like, this is the thing I'm most passionate about. I talked about it all the time, really wanted to get into it. And then I thought it sucked. And it wasn't that the stuff was cool, or the stuff wasn't cool. It wasn't that the subject matter was shitty. It was that the field was awful.
Yeah.
And I realized this is, I love this field, but I don't love the work involved with this. It feels bad,
You can love bugs and not work in the field of entomology.
So then I became a programmer, and I have different kinds of bugs now, right? I still get bugs.
All right.
They're just
How many times have you made that joke, Thor?
Many times. All the time.
Yeah, I know. I can feel that. I can feel that one sitting in the back pocket, ready to go.
It's just there. But no, I mean, like I totally understand that kind of a feeling though, is being interested in that thing. It's kind of like the stuff you had with film school, which is like, it's like, oh man, maybe it's this that I'm interested in. You go and try it and you do that. And I think the best thing you could do for any of you guys out there is try shit. You might not even like the thing that you try. You may think that you're going to like it, but you won't know until you do. So do it.
It's funny because we talked about that feeling of like making a game and being like, oh, here's this like journal entry of mine that, oh, this feels so trite and uninteresting. Nobody's going to like this. But then you trust that you have this feeling that is like real.
Yeah.
That it wants to go into this thing. And I think that there's a similar, like, listening to that voice and saying and understanding whether or not there is something there that's actually like kind of flowing out of you, knowing when that isn't happening is really important. Knowing that I'm not in love with this, knowing that I don't have anything to say here, knowing that I'm doing this because of an expectation from myself or from someone else, or because I imagine how cool it will be when I get all of this, great reception to whatever it is I'm doing. Honestly, another trick is, or another trap is doing this because I want to play this game that I'm making. A lot of times you're the only person who doesn't get to play the game that you're making, right? So there's all of these traps that can pull you in, and it's the emotional intuition to realize I don't love this. This isn't the thing that's flowing out of me. And that's where trying a lot of stuff is really good, and listening to that voice and being willing to say, whatever, I've spent my whole life, I've spent my education, whatever, and then you get to that point and you realize it's not effortless in that way. Effortless is a strong word, but there's a certain quality to it that you're like, I am willing to be in this space where it's really, really hard work, and I'm okay with that because the act of doing it gives me some sort of sustenance.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think that's kind of all creation in that. And eventually you find the things that are most important to you are the ones that you can't control them coming out, whatever it's going to be.
You,
That's gonna be a thing.
yeah. One thing that is very clear: you cannot control the audience reception to your, to your thing, and everyone likes to say like, yeah, I'm just making it because if anybody loves it, I'll be happy with that. Well, okay, that's great to say. Once you actually put it out there into the world and you see the reception to it, how are you going to feel then? Are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to be like, yeah, I don't mind that nobody played it or loved it, or it didn't land with the audience the way that I wanted it to? Do I actually love this enough that that's okay with me? And sometimes you just have to do that to learn. But again, there's comes a point where you need the emotional intuition of, am I doing this because I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else? And if that's the case, then you have at least the first step toward actually making it work, But it's a it's a first step, but it's a very, very important first step.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What would you say, this is kind of interesting because your games have a lot of kind of personal inspiration in them. What would you say is something that is incredibly inspiring to you? Something that has stuck with you, a piece of media that you have played or witnessed in some way?
Specific thing?
Yeah.
Man.
Could even be a collection of things, right?
Yeah,
I know you said Princess Bride. Yeah.
Yeah, Princess Bride on Beginner's Guide, but also on Beginner's Guide, like I for a minute I got really into graphic novels while I was working on Beginner's Guide. I read Fun Home by Alison Bechdel, which is just this beautiful. It's so wonderful. I love this book. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful graphic novel, and it was so personal and so incisive, and I remember that like flipping a switch in my head and being like, it's actually okay to just put something into this that's just me and my story, and to be like vulnerable about that. That on Beginner's Guide was really big. On Wanderstop, yeah, similarly, several things. Obviously, Animal Crossing, like I said, but then when you start getting deeper and deeper into development, and realizing like, oh, this story needs something that it doesn't have yet. I need to find something I need to find something about this that's really fascinating to me to write. A lot of things happened. I played Disco Elysium, and I was like, wow, I didn't know you could write this way, in a video game. And I mean, like, for example, like a lot of the humor in Wanderstop is humor that I drew on Disco Elysium and its sense of humor, maybe the funniest game I had ever played. And I was like, I can try to live up to that. I also, there were, it's funny that both Better Call Saul and BoJack Horseman were airing at like the exact same time. And I was watching both of them and just blown away with both of them, that like a really simple story about some realistic feeling people. And it's tempting to say humans, but I know in BoJack that's not quite the case. But
Not really.
it's about humans just existing, and that's what is amazing. So amazing about both of those stories is that they're just about people, just like living in the world and just trying to get by, and knowing that they're messed up and not sure if they will ever be fixed, but just trying to keep going. And both of those, I think that those are both things that made me, similar to how Fun Home gave me the feeling on Beginner's Guide that it was okay to tell a story that was just about me. I think those two shows told me that it was okay to tell a story about mundanity, that a story can be about what it's like to just exist in this world and just to be a person, and you don't have to show your characters all becoming fixed and healed. You don't have to show them learning all of the lessons, and you can just show them struggling, right? And that there's like real artistic value in that. Those had a really big impact on Wanderstop, and I think really gave me confidence to try to remove everything from the story that wasn't just like the fundamental pain of looking in the mirror and not liking yourself, and what that how that could feel, and not trying to like solve it, but just to let it be. Those are really big for me on this project.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I think all of that really comes through too. I think you've
Great.
got a very
Thank
good
you.
way. Yeah, I think you've got a very good way at portraying emotion in a way that is kind of consumable and digestible by the audience. One that it is like, I can apply pieces of this to myself each time. And it's not everything that hits, but the things that do, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting an idea, a picture of what this is through that.
Right.
And
that's
yeah.
It's funny because there was a similar thing on Stanley Parable, where in Stanley Parable people are like, oh, everything I do, so there's a reaction to it, and the design process of that is you have to put in 5 times more things than the stuff people actually find, because whenever they poke around, they're only going to find some percentage of it, but they need to feel like, oh, just because I poked around at it, I found a thing that really resonated with me. And then on a game like Wanderstop or even Beginner's Guide, I think there's a similar thing emotionally and narratively, I should say, which is you need to put in enough narrative hooks that you're like, okay, I'm just offering you something to come along and get, hooked on. I don't know which one it'll be. It's funny. There's like things that people, I write sometimes. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's just like, and then Bora would obviously say this, and then I'll see someone be like, oh, I'm having a really, big emotional response to that one line, right? And you don't in the moment you're not thinking like that's the line that's going to get people, or sometimes you do, and then that's never the one that does. It's always the one that's just some random little out of the way thing. So you have to just put a lot out, and give people enough hooks to skewer themselves on something.
Yeah, I've kind of felt that way too, is like you kind of throw as many things out there and be like, I hope one of these hits you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I get that completely. Totally understand that.
It's really, really hard work. It's really, really difficult, and just hard work over many years to do that.
Yeah. Takes that time.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone 30 minutes over, but I really enjoyed this conversation. Is there anything that you want to leave chat with? Anything you want to leave chat with?
I don't know. Subscribe to Doug.
Oh wow. Oh man. There's that inheritance. It's coming through. You guys should go and get Wanderstop. 100%.
I hope that I hope that this thing is able to speak to that part of what's interesting and compelling about mundanity. I hope I hope that it finds that audience. And yeah.
I'm really glad. And I think the way that I feel about it so far is I immediately got the feeling of Beginner's Guide, which is a very positive thing for me because I love that game. You guys did a fantastic job on it.
I gotta say, man, it's been almost a decade since Beginner's Guide, and it's built up such a following that really loves it. And in some way, I feel like that's I really want to, like, I know this is a very different kind of thing, but I hope to, give people more that is able to touch on some of those similar types of feelings. And yeah. And honestly, to, everyone out there, if you do play the game, and it does, land for you in any of those ways, please don't hesitate to, like, ping me on social media and let me know, because I really enjoy hearing that stuff, and it's really nice, when to, because those stories tend to be very personal, which is what I find on Beginner's Guide a lot, is that people have these stories that are like, oh, it's this really specific thing that it evoked for me, and I genuinely appreciate that. So yeah. After subbing to Doug, then
Okay.
shoot me a thing on socials.
Yeah, I do think it feels like that, and it also feels like. Did you ever play Spiritfarer? Did you play that?
Yeah.
Spiritfarer I love, and it immediately feels like kind of a mixture of the two right now. But I'm at the very beginning, so
yeah.
kind of
Spiritfarer is one of those that I because it came out while we were developing Wanderstop, and I remember seeing it in development, and I was like, oh god, is this gonna like take all the wind out of our sails? And then Spiritfarer turned out to actually, in my opinion, be quite different, even though I think there's a lot of surface level similarities. I think that the actual like intentions between these games are quite divergent in terms of what they're doing. So that was like, I was kind of like, oh, okay, all right, we're not going to be like, in that thing's shadow, I don't think.
No.
But it was just a funny, to be like making this game and then see like, oh shit, someone is maybe doing what we're doing. I had that worry for a minute.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. But no, I do think they're very different. It's just more of that kind of reminiscing of like you're meeting someone at a time in their life. But I guess in Spiritfarer, you're meeting someone at the time of their death, right? It's very different. But it's kind of a slice of that person, maybe the best parts or the worst parts of them. And I find those types of experiences really interesting. Really interesting. Also,
that's what
Oh, sorry, go for it.
Oh, no, just that's what I was going to say. Like, that's what was the most exciting thing to us, was like, let's look at this person at their lowest,
Even if they don't realize it's their lowest so far. It's kind of interesting.
Right. Maybe there's lower to go. Ooh.
Yeah. Will the shadow extend beyond his leg? We'll see. A chat would like to know, when will you wear wigs?
Why? Sorry, that's my favorite. Everyone loves the "when will you wear wigs" line.
Always.
But the in that video when he says why, that I say that to myself like no joke once a week. Like I'm working on something and there's a bug. Like if I'm like in the editor and like there's a bug and something isn't happening the way, every time my brain is why, and I don't know why that thing is like lives in me now. Like you could identify it on an MRI. It's somewhere in my body. That why is living there.
It's part of you.
I don't know.
It's like
anyway.
A core memory now. It's part of your firmware.
Yeah, no, it really is. Really is. I don't have any wigs, unfortunately. I do have. This is my cool Davey hat. This is for when I need to appeal to the youth.
Pretty good. You are wigless, but not soggy. So this is good. I love the 80s shapes on that. That's great.
Well, it's what the kids are into.
Oh, the 80s shapes? Nice.
Hell yeah, they're the kids. Yeah, this is how I appeal to the, to Gen Alpha now.
You hear that, Gen Alpha? He's cool. Yeah. You should buy his game.
If you're Gen Alpha out there, just know that Wanderstop is all of the things that you think are cool. You can't get enough Skibbity Toilet. You're just like, man, there's no amount of these that will ever get old. I'll never get sick of it. It will never run into the ground. Well, maybe there's might be a lot of that in Wanderstop, or some other thing that you definitely like and are definitely super into.
This sounds really compelling and true. I feel like you should buy it.
But I just want to clarify that it's all presented in a way that is about the pain of mundanity and living with yourself. But it is all of those things as well. It is
Skibbity Toilet included?
Skibbity Toilet and whatever other things. So, but there's a reason for it. There's an emotional resonance to it.
Is it the pain of living as a mundane Skibbity Toilet? Is that?
If that's how you want to see it, then that's that's your interpretation.
I feel like I'm learning about myself through this process now. It's happening.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
True art.
True art.
Skibbity. Skimmity. There's a word in there that I can't pronounce. It's great.
We'll come back to this later.
We'll come back to it.
We'll add that into the VOD. You'll figure it out, and then we'll insert that into the VOD.
And don't worry, anybody who missed any of this stuff, this will turn into a YouTube video. You guys will have it. We'll have it out there. So, and with that being said, this was really nice to talk to you, man. It's really good.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's nice to meet you after thank you for the big boost you gave on Beginner's Guide, and and I'm really glad that you were interested in this thing in this so Wanderstop is out now, I guess.
Yeah, go get it.
Buy it.
I've linked it a billion times. Go get it.
Thank you very much, Thor. Appreciate you, and thanks to your audience. Thanks to everyone in chat who was who's been with us and listened and enjoyed this thing. I really appreciate the support.
Yeah, absolutely. Will I finish Wanderstop? I want to figure out if I want to finish it all on stream or if it's something that I want to finish off on my own, and then you guys can finish it on your own. Because one of the things that I am very cognizant of as a streamer is that if I finish a game on stream that is a more narrative game, there is a chance that people will not get that game for themselves, which is at the detriment to the developer. So I still want to experience it, but I'd also like you to experience it too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, you cheapskates. You don't get to coast by for free on this.
I'm going to give you the taste, just so you're like, oh, I'm invested. Now I got to go play it. Shit. Don't worry. The first hour of the game is free.
Blood. I need more.
Well,
once that first skibbity toilet joke comes in, you're like, damn, he's good.
He's part of it now.
I need more of this.
Now I'm going to sign the stream over to you, so it's going to be yours going forward. You cool with that? Is this how it works?
What up, cool kids out there? I'm Davey, your new streamer, and we're going to talk about it's only hip stuff from now on. Cool things that the young people are into. That's it. From here on out, welcome to the new stream. Okay, it turns out I don't love it. I tried it.
Is that what it is? You just don't.
You know what? I gave it a good shot. I tried it, and and I don't let. It's not effortless.
No. Imagine doing that, but for 12 hours every day.
I mean, I got a good 30 seconds in. I think I got a good taste for it. I think that was a good. Yeah,
well, I love that.
There you go. There you go, man.
That's the thing.
Go.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like Doug probably loves it as well. I mean, that's why he's here.
Doug's he's. I think anyone who follows him knows his schedule is more like intermittent, right? And I'm sure he's talked about this a million times, but there's for a reason. He knows the boundaries that he needs in order to keep himself, enthusiastic about it, and I think that's one of them.
He's saying in chat that he's only in it for the cash and the skibbity toilets. The Doug dough is what it is.
Yeah.
It's the Doug dough.
Yeah. Thor, you probably stream more in a day than he does in like 2 weeks. So
you got to step up those numbers, Doug. Got to
get
him
not
up.
On that grind. He's not on that grind set.
Yeah, you got to get those numbers up, man. Got to bring them up.
The rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers. Literally, unironically, yes. You got to keep. You know what we should do? We should have a stream off, Doug. Whoever turns their stream off first loses. We'll just do that.
Oh my god, he's gonna crumble in minutes.
We'll just start it. We just won't stop. Yeah.
He's gonna make it minutes into that.
Winner gets gets the loser's stream key. There we go. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. High stakes, dude. Deal I'm in. Nice. Hell yeah. Good luck. I've got Monster Hunter and all the time in the world. It's time, dude.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
That's a losing battle for him.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to end out because I'm 41 minutes over my normal end time. So I'll be going for about 12 hours and 41 minutes. But it was actually really nice having you on. This is a really cool interview, and it's really nice to have met you, finally.
Yeah, no, you too. And, thank you very much for taking the time. And thanks for, I know we paid you, but thanks for playing the game.
Yeah.
And, And thank you very much for having me on to chat about all this.
Absolutely. And I want you to know personally that the games that you've made have meant a lot to me. So
Thank
keep
you.
making stuff. Don't stop.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
And I will see you guys all later. We're going to go raid the Ferret Software stream. Ferrets. And we've got friends over today. So you're going to be able to see them hanging out with the ferrets. All right. Well, I will see you later, dude.
All right. Take care, man. Have a good one. Peace.
Every game that I have played by them has had so much deeper meaning to it and has such a good way of portraying emotional, like, nuance. It's phenomenal. I love these games.